Well, we got one night down, one night to go. 2-night SummerSlam, which did not need to be. Night one is in the books, and my takeaway, again, as I just said, is that SummerSlam definitely does not need to be 2 nights. I would like to hope that we can all agree on this, because it is very clear the only reason that SummerSlam is 2 nights at this point is so that they can fit in all the ads. There's no other reason. There really is no other reason. It really hit me when it was over. Like, you know what? You could have had one big, and I'm not saying it has to go 5 hours either. One big night of SummerSlam, that's all you need. But they want to sell as many tickets in one weekend as they possibly can, and so this is what we are left with. And night one actually was the stronger of the 2 nights on paper coming into this weekend. I'm not sure what that says about how SummerSlam is going to end up, but we shall see. The WWE Championship. You would think coming into this show that was going to be the main event of the show, that was going to headline. I was very surprised when I read earlier that, in fact, the Hell in a Cell match was going to get top billing on this show. And it told me also that the likelihood of there being a Cody Rhodes heel turn was probably slim to none. If there was any real hope of anything like that happening, that's the sort of thing that if you're going to do it, you close the show with it. And so that kind of gave away to me, all right, maybe we shouldn't be expecting anything like that here tonight. And it became very clear in the main event why that WWE Championship match did not go on last when I watched Brock Lesnar tearing up the ring mat. He was ripping up the canvas. He was exposing the boards underneath. I said, oh, okay. Now it makes sense why this match is going on last. So they headline with Hell in a Cell. This was a big endorsement for Femi. All right, let's get the good out of the way first. The fact that they put this match on last and you knew Oba was going over because this could end no other way. That was a big endorsement of Femi. We got an actual endorsement when it was over from Brock Lesnar, who hugged him, who got on the mic, who verbally put him over. He didn't even do that with Cody Rhodes 3 years ago. After Cody beat him and then he raised Cody's arm, I don't remember Brock getting on the mic and basically cutting a short promo and putting the guy over. So they did that for Oba. They left the ring to him. They closed the show night one with him tonight. They've made it very clear up until this point that Oba, they see him as the future. He got a win over Brock at WrestleMania. They made him king of the ring. And tonight he got to be the man to end the undefeated streak of Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell. So they're all in on Femi. But as I reflect back on what we got in the main event tonight, I was left very disappointed. Even though we got the right ending, we got the right outcome. All of that was exactly what it needed to be. They went out there, though, and had effectively the same match they had at WrestleMania and Clash in Italy. This one was a little bit longer than the last one. This one had a little bit of plunder. It had a giant cell surrounding the ring. But really, was this match all that different than the other matches these two men have had? It really wasn't. This was the blow-off. This was the payoff. This was the final time that we're likely ever going to see these two men in the ring together. They've been playing this feud out now since March. And then when they announced the Hell in a Cell stipulation, especially given that the last time we had a Hell in a Cell match was that 5-star affair that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had. That was a violent, bloody match that really did live up to the stipulation. That was 2 years ago. Excellent Hell in a Cell. Best Hell in a Cell match that we've had in many, many years. When they announced Hell in a Cell, I wasn't really expecting it to live up to those expectations. But I said, man, I really hope that they at least give them more time and that they can give us something special. And they can give us something memorable here. Because if they're going with that stipulation, they must have something up their sleeve. You know, they must have something planned here for it. The Hell in a Cell was not needed. As we look back on what they did here tonight, this was a complete waste of the Hell in a Cell stipulation. Cell never even came into play at any point during the match. It's very clear the only reason that they actually even advertised the Hell in a Cell match, when this easily could have been, by the way, like last man standing. You could have done something else. And we saw Brock many years ago here on this show have A quality last man standing match with Roman Reigns. I would even argue it may have been the best match those two have ever had. And they've wrestled like 50,000 times. They got creative in that match. They did some pretty unique stuff in that match. And that's why that match is memorable. You could have done something like that. The sell was not needed. The only reason they did it is because they wanted Oba to be able to say, I am the man who ended Brock Lesnar's undefeated streak inside Hell in a Cell. And when I say undefeated streak, I should put air quotes around it because the man had 2 matches in his entire fucking 25 plus year career inside Hell in a Cell. Does 2 matches really constitute a streak? I'm not really sure. It doesn't seem to me that it does. But that's why they did it. Why did they make Oba Femi King of the Ring if they weren't going to live up to the stipulation that the winner of the King of the Ring gets to choose the champion that they want to challenge at SummerSlam? Because they didn't give a shit about that. They wanted him to have the title of King of the Ring. They want to be able to call him the King of the Ring. That's the only reason we got a Hell in a Cell match on this show. So it sucks because I had high hopes for what they could potentially do inside or outside the cell. 2 big guys like that, it wouldn't be difficult to imagine they would do a spot where they would kind of go barreling through the cage wall. They would end up outside and do some stuff outside. But, they kind of exhausted the announce desk spots in the previous match. And you got 2 guys here. They're not climbing to the... You see how tall that cell is? They're not climbing to the top of that. So this is what we were left with, and that was just very underwhelming. But you know what? Even more than that, my biggest gripe with what they did here in that main event, right when it felt like the match was about to kick into that next gear, it was about to elevate into that next gear, it was over. Brock exposes the boards underneath the ring, and now the fans are coming to their feet like, oh shit, what do they have planned here? What are they going to do? And people are getting excited. And 60 seconds later, the match is over. Right when it was starting to get good, it ended. And it was very flat because I was expecting more. And then it was over. So to me, that was my biggest disappointment here with what they did in this match. Not even 12 minutes, that main event went. They could not even squeeze 15 minutes out of that main event. Now, the WWE Championship match went just shy of half an hour. So that got plenty of time. But this one, unfortunately, couldn't even get 15 minutes. And I'm not even saying that this should have gone 20 minutes or anything like that, because look, you got 2 guys like this. Brock is very limited in what he's going to do. You know that Brock is not going to go in there and do anything too crazy, right? He'll take bumps, but he's not going to take like big bumps. And he's not going to wrestle the way that he used to wrestle 20 years ago. It's going to be a lot of suplexes. It's going to be a lot of the same shit that you always see Brock Lesnar do. Oba also is limited in what he can do because he's a big guy. What's he going to do? He's going to be in there doing technical mat wrestling? He's not. So it doesn't have to go absurdly long. But unfortunately, when it was over, it was just like, man, there was more meat on the bone, especially if this is their last time working together. And I just wish we would have gotten more out of it because for a main event, it was over and I just felt very underwhelmed. It was just very disappointing to me. The outcome, though, was the correct outcome. As far as that goes, they did exactly what they needed to do. Anything other than that would have been completely ridiculous. I don't give a shit where this show was. Oh, it's Minnesota. Who gives a fuck? The only outcome here that made sense to close out the feud was Oba Femi beating Brock Lesnar. Because as Brock himself said when the show was over, I'm the past. You're the future. He's not just the future. He's the here and now, right? He's getting pushed now in a big way. And if he isn't world champion by WrestleMania next year or at WrestleMania next year, he'll be champion before that. So he's the here and now, and Brock is the past. So he was right, when he said that. And you want to get over the future. Brock has nothing left to gain by, winning a big match like this. It would serve no purpose. So they did what they had to do as far as that goes. I don't know if this is it for Brock. There's been a lot of rumor and speculation that this could be his retirement. I don't think anybody is buying into any of that bullshit after the stunt he pulled at WrestleMania this year. Taking off the gloves, taking off the boots, crying in the middle of the ring. And so even if you had come out tonight and said that I'm done, right? I'm officially done. Would anybody even believe him? Probably not. Do I believe that Brock Lesnar is done? No, I don't. There'll be an offer for him to come back and do another WrestleMania or do some other big match, and he'll come back. Or make a cameo or whatever it may be. But if it was going to be the end for him, he went out exactly the way that you would hope he would. He went out putting over the future and doing the honors on the way out. And at the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for. We did have the WWE Championship on the line. It was Cody Rhodes challenging CM Punk. First time ever. First time ever since both these men returned to WWE. The one time they wrestled each other, again, it was like 18 years ago. Something like that. I mean, it may as well have been their first time in the ring together. I mean, the two men you saw in the ring tonight, not the same people that were in the ring on Monday Night Raw, okay, back in 2008. So for all intents and purposes, first time ever match here. I was, at one time, very bullish on this being one of the WrestleMania main events this year. And I think it could have been, had creative gone in a different direction, that could have been a WrestleMania main event this year. We got it on pretty short notice here for SummerSlam. And I think all you really needed to do to sell this match was to have one or two really good promos, right? Because these are two good promo guys. Punk's a great promo guy. We never really got that. We had this kind of manufactured thing where Punk accidentally hit him in the face with the belt strap at Saturday night's main event, and then this house show the other day where Cody didn't know who it was, and he gave this really phony looking back elbow. Like, come on, dude, you knew exactly who it was. And it all just felt very forced and very manufactured. And even the in-ring promo work between the two of them, it just fell very flat to me. So coming into the show, this match just didn't feel like as big of a deal as it should have. Which is too bad, because I still feel like, even now, I still feel like this could be a really big match at some point. But by that point, maybe better off if one of them is a heel and not both of them being baby faces, because that also kind of hurts it a little bit. But we had the title match tonight, and we did get a big return at the end of that title match, factored actually into the finish of the match, and that is Randy Orton. We have not seen Randy Orton since he punt kicked Cody Rhodes in the skull at the end of WrestleMania Night 1. And then he vanished. He went away. And there was a lot of speculation about him being injured. Dave Meltzer reported that there was a back injury. Randy Orton chimed in. People took that to mean it was a denial. It was never a denial. I'm sure the man was hurt. Whether it was his back or not, who knows? But he was hurt. That's why he disappeared. And I hope he's healthy now. I hope he's healthy enough to stick around and not disappear again, because him kicking Cody in the head and then vanishing really seemed to fuck up their creative plans, whatever they were, as if TKO didn't fuck it up enough for WrestleMania. So now Randy Orton is back, and he costs Cody Rhodes the match. Unbeknownst to CM Punk, who didn't see any of this, Cody gets dropped with an RKO, and it leads directly into the finish. CM Punk is still the WWE champion, which I completely expected. And now we're looking at a Cody Rhodes-Randy Orton feud, non-title. There's so much I could say about this, going back to WrestleMania. You talk about feuds that I had been looking forward to, because there was a lot of history there, and it was just untapped. They had stayed away from it for so long, and that this was going to be the year finally we're going to visit the whole Cody and Randy thing. And they had little teases of it over the years and little backstage segments on the television show. But we're finally going to get it this year, and they fucked it up. And it takes a lot to fuck up a Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton story. But they managed to do so. And yes, there was a very good reason why. And we can't put that all on Triple H and the creative team, but nonetheless, they fucked it up. And when it was over, I didn't have any interest in seeing it again. So now all these months have gone by. Pat McAfee is but a distant memory. And now they're going to try it again. We're going to go back to the well once more with Cody and Randy. And I'll give it a shot, but my interest level ain't nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the year to see that match. I really hope they could put something together to heat things back up and get me excited and get me invested in this again, because they did a lot of damage with what they did going into WrestleMania this year. But that's the direction we're going in as far as those two. I don't know how long it'll be before we see Cody and Punk back in the ring together, but this was only the first match. And it ended up being a good match. but they clearly were holding back in certain regards and leaving a lot more for the future. Maybe the future isn't until WrestleMania, in Saudi next year. Because right now, Cody is going to be occupied with Randy Orton, which, by the way, that opens up CM Punk to, I say feud with, but he can have a lot of little mini feuds. I mean, he can defend that championship against any number of people on SmackDown. Look at all the people he name dropped a few weeks ago. Right? Not just Sami Zayn. He name dropped Damian Priest. He name dropped Trick Williams. And he might have mentioned Royce Keys. I don't really remember. But there's a whole bunch of people where he could sort of branch off and he can have a little mini feud with this person and he can wrestle that person and defend the title against this guy. And don't forget, there's another big name that is rumored to be on their way back very, very soon. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. He is in Minneapolis because he had some signings, and that is Kevin Owens. And I'm dying to see a feud between CM Punk and Kevin Owens. I don't know that I would go right into it as Owens' first feud and then he loses his first feud. I don't think you need to jump right into it, but I would hope when he comes back, he's on SmackDown and they can build to Punk and Owens. That's a feud. That's a first time ever match that I'm very much interested in seeing. So for Punk, he's got plenty of people that you could pair him off with and then circle back around to Cody at some point, maybe early next year. But this was only match number 1 between them. I thought it was good. Speaking of good, we had a Women's World Championship match on this show between Liv Morgan and Io Sky that they actually opened with that I thought was very good. No title changes on the show tonight. WWE Championship did not change. Women's World Championship did not change. We also had the debut of Nick Aldis in ring. Aldis it's weird saying the debut of Nick Aldis. Aldis has been on the roster as the GM for 3 years now. But it took this long for them to put him in the ring. We had not seen him wrestle in WWE until tonight. This was the man's dream. He wanted to come here years ago. And finally he came, and they didn't have any interest in putting him in the ring. So 3 years go by. He's 3 years older. You don't know what you're going to expect. I'm sure this all came together on relatively short notice. And, he keeps himself in good shape. But still, I mean, it takes a while to get yourself in ring shape. And you don't know what the guy's going to look like. He showed up tonight. He was in great shape. It's not like he got gassed out or anything like that. He looked great in the ring with Gunther tonight. Gunther was just the perfect, shit heel opponent for him. They went out there. I was very happy for Aldis that he was able to get that moment. His wife and son were at ringside to watch the match. The crowd was super into it. They were fully behind him. They were fully invested in seeing Nick Aldis. They wanted him to beat Gunther. So it all worked out very well. And when the match was over, I was wondering, okay, well, where to now? Does he want to wrestle full-time? I don't know if they want him wrestling full-time. He does a very good job in the GM role. Why would they want to replace him? And we got our answer when the show was over. For those who didn't see on the post-show, there was a segment in the back where Aldis confronted Triple H, and he handed him his letter of resignation. Because he said, look, I was the GM, but I had to fight Gunther, and I was relieved of my duties, and I understand what I did, and so here's my letter of resignation. And in the end, Triple H basically ripped it up and said, I'm reinstating you as the general manager of SmackDown. So everything's back to normal. Nick Aldis is back as the GM. It doesn't mean that we'll never see him back in the ring ever again, but if he wasn't coming back full-time, it just is very awkward. How do you, like storyline-wise, how do you do that? Just to have the one match with Gunther, right? He had to temporarily resign his position as the GM. So what does that mean? Every time he wants to have a match with somebody, he's got to temporarily resign as the general manager. You kind of have to shit or get off the pot. You got to make a decision. Do you want him as a full-time wrestler? Do you want him as a GM? I think there's more value to him as a GM. It's not like, oh, the roster, they so desperately need Nick Aldis on the show. They don't. He'll serve them better in the GM role. And then if a storyline comes up, or if you cameo in the Royal Rumble or something like that, you can be back in the ring. Yeah, maybe he'll get a WrestleMania match one day. But we have our answer. Now he's back to being the GM. And at least he got his one moment. Then it was also the tale of two trios matches on this show. One for the men, one for the women. I had fun with the men's match. I had whatever the opposite of fun is what I had with the women's match. And it was colored by a potential injury to Brie Bella. It's very clear that she was hurt. I think the only question is how badly is she hurt? There's no way she wasn't hurt. And so that didn't help matters. This was a good show. It was a good show. I can't say it was anything more than that. Because I can't sit here and tell you it was a bad show. I enjoyed more than I disliked. The opening match I thought was very good. The men's 6-man I thought was very good. The Aldis match, I enjoyed that. The Punk and Cody match started very, very slow. Crowd was very quiet. But it built because they knew they were going 30 minutes. And it built nicely to the end. We got the big Randy Orton return. And even in the main event in Hell in a Cell, while I was disappointed in the match that we ended up getting, and this absolutely did not need the cell. I cannot impress upon you how much this did not need to be inside Hell in a Cell and what a waste of the stipulation it was. But still, it was Femi doing what he needed to do, which is beat Brock Lesnar in the main event with Brock putting him over at the end. And I can't shit on that. That's exactly what they should have done. But when the show was over, this is SummerSlam. And it didn't feel like a big SummerSlam to me. It felt very safe. It felt very underwhelming in many ways. If I had to grade this on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably go 6. I think that's fair. Maybe 6.5. I would not go higher than that. And again, think about it. This was on paper. I think most people would agree on paper, this was the stronger of the two nights. And this was a 6 out of 10. What does that mean for night 2? I don't know, but we'll talk about night 2 tomorrow. Right now, I'm here to talk about night 1. This is your SummerSlam night 1 review for 2026. If you don't know who I am, of course you do. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for being with me here on a Saturday night. Do me a favor and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. That way you'll get notified whenever I go live, including tomorrow night. Hit the like button as well. Super chats. Yes, we got a bunch of them to go through. I want yours so I can read them. They are open. You will see them periodically popping up on your screen. Look at that. That's a long message right there. Brody had a lot to say in that super chat, but I'm going to be reading all of them. So get them on in, and I have to bust out the wheel. Now, what is the wheel for? Well, we have a little segment we do at the end of these streams, sometimes.
I am the
Shut the fuck up. Called Be the Booker. Be the Booker is what it's called.
Fuck that tree.
Hey, Death Scythe, thank you for the learning tree. And the wheel will determine how many likes we need in order to hit the Be the Booker goal. It's actually very simple. So I spin, and then I leave the rest up to you guys. All you got to do is hit that thumbs up. It's the easiest thing in the world. And all we need is 465 likes. And I mean, this is the SummerSlam stream, and we're already at 470 likes. So I have to spin again. You can't be doing that. When you've already attained the goal, we have to try again. That's cheating. That's not right. All right, 600. You know we're still going to hit it. You know we're still going to hit it, but I had to spin again. 600 likes. That is the goal. You guys get to work. We got a couple of new super chat amounts, $14 and $15 ones, I believe. It's all in the description down below, so go check that out. But let's get to this. So they were in US Bank Stadium, and there was a lot made of the attendance coming into this show. And the attendance compared to what they did at MetLife Stadium last year, far, far below what they did last. I mean, to the tune of like 15 to 20,000 tickets less. I don't believe, now correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe they mentioned the attendance once tonight. They certainly weren't gloating about it. Gee, I wonder why. Usually they're all about, they put the graphic up or they have somebody make the announcement. They have a legend out there making the announcement. I didn't hear a single word said about it. Actually, the only thing that I did hear, Michael Cole multiple times said, a capacity crowd is what we have here in Minneapolis tonight. Apparently, capacity doesn't mean what it used to mean. So we did have Michael Cole lying to us multiple times and telling us it was a capacity crowd. It was not a capacity crowd. But they still had something like 37,000 people there. That's still a healthy crowd. Now, US Bank Stadium, it's not an open air stadium, but I guess it must have like a transparent roof because the sunlight was shining through for even during the main event. We had sunlight. Hell in a Cell doesn't hit quite the same way when it's still light outside. It's like when Sting wrestled at WrestleMania, his one WrestleMania match. It's Sting. He's a dark character. He comes out and it's just fucking sunshine. The clouds are out. It's bright and sunny. It just doesn't hit the same way. So I don't know if it's the entire roof or just a portion of the roof, but you could see the light shining through. The stage looked good, though. The setup looked good. Before the show started, we had Vaughn Evelyn performing God Bless America. And if you're wondering, well, who is Vaughn Evelyn? That would be Vaughn Evelyn Levesque, the 15-year-old daughter of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I don't believe they ever identified her as being their daughter, but she sang before the show. They opened the show with the Women's World Championship on the line. Liv Morgan. This was a landmark day because this was Liv Morgan's first title defense since she won the championship at WrestleMania in April. Over 100 days of no defenses. And finally, she defended her title, and it was against the Queen of the Ring, Io Sky. So Morgan hit a Three Amigos. This was pretty early on in the match. There was a sunset bomb spot where Liv got power bombed off the apron to the floor. Back inside, Io headed up top. Here comes Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. This is a little deeper into the match. And so you knew the Judgment Day was going to rear their heads at some point. So Roxanne distracted the referee while Raquel shoved Io off the rope. She took a flat back into the center of the ring. But Io made a comeback and she took out Perez and Rodriguez with a moonsault out to the floor. And then a few moments later, Io hit an avalanche Spanish fly and dropped Liv all the way down, covered her for a near fall. Io then hit a backbreaker. Liv rolled to the corner and Io went for the bullet train knees. Liv moved out of the way. So she hit the turnbuckle. Io hit Liv with her own Oblivion finish, only for a near fall. Then she went for her over the moonsault, landed on her feet though when Liv moved out of the way. Io sold it like maybe she jammed her knee or her ankle on the landing. Liv then jumped from the middle rope. She hit a code breaker for a 2 count. Io was able to dodge an Oblivion attempt, got Liv on the apron, and she delivered a German suplex on the apron. And now at Liv, sitting up against the ring post. Here comes Io, and she comes charging in with the bullet train knees. Back inside now, Io goes up. She's going to go again for the over the moonsault, but Liv got her feet up, and then she went for Oblivion. And it looked at first like she hit Oblivion, and I guess Io blocked it. She ended up landing on her feet. She like propelled herself back up onto her feet, and she starts like screaming. She's all fired up, and like the crowd is into it. But then Liv quickly followed up with a code breaker and then one last Oblivion. And this time she got the pin to retain the title. And so Liv Morgan remains undefeated at SummerSlam. This was either her 3rd or 4th match at SummerSlam. She was undefeated coming into this show. She is still undefeated, which also means the Danhausen curse has been broken. Danhausen cursed her. He never uncursed her. And she won. That means the Danhausen shit is dead. The curse has been broken. It has been rendered ineffective. Maybe we can start to quiet down the various Danhausen appearances. Just dial it back a little bit, maybe. I thought this was a very good opener. A great closing sequence, and they got time, too. You know, actually, now that I think about it, what's kind of sad, this got more time than Brock and Oba did inside the cell. It did. It got like a minute and a half more. This got about 13 minutes. Brock and Oba had just shy of 12. See, that's what's ridiculous about it, okay? I'm not saying that Brock and Oba had to go 20 plus, but I mean, for God's sake, does Io Sky and Liv Morgan really need to go longer than Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi when you have a Hell in a Cell stipulation? I mean, that's pretty fucking ridiculous. What I'm happy about, though, is that Liv and Stephanie got like 7 minutes, if that, at WrestleMania. So at least she got 5 or 6 minutes more for this match than she did in Mania. And now I just hope I was pulling for a title change, mostly because I'm just sick and tired of Liv walking around with the title as a fashion accessory. They had nobody for her to work with. She became the de facto manager of the Judgment Day. Okay, she retained. Now what? Right? I don't want them to just go back to and let another 100 days go by. Or 50 days go by. Right? No more of this shit. She needs to get in the ring. She needs to defend the title every now and then, right? I don't even think they have another PLE until... When is the next PLE? I don't even know. They have a Sunday night's main event at the beginning of next month. I don't even know what... I don't even know when the next PLE is, honestly. They haven't announced WrestlePalooza yet. I can't imagine they don't bring it back. I mean, they were so in love with it last year. So I would think the WrestlePalooza announcement for September is probably coming very soon. But for God's sake, just line up 2 or 3 women. I mean, maybe with any luck, Stephanie Vicaire will reappear on Raw on Monday. Maybe she'll be back. Maybe she'll be back on TV this Monday. You know, and they can resume the feud. Reignite that. But I mean, otherwise, you know, line a few people up and get her in the ring and let her defend the championship. No more of this bullshit where people are just hoarding belts and they don't do anything with them. Because here's the thing, it makes for boring television. If you want the television to be more exciting and more interesting, you've got to line up some challengers for these people. Even if if Io won the belt tonight, it would have been the same thing. You have to have people lined up for them to work with. So that's my only hope. If they have people lined up for Liv, great. Then I have no problem with her retaining. But Monday would be a great time for a Stephanie Vicaire return. Now, they had a lot of different commercials here during the show. By the way, this show, it started at 6, and it was over a little over 3 hours. Like 9:05 maybe, I think, the show was over. I like it. Very economical. I will not complain about that. That's great. There's certain other pay-per-views that I wish would also be, you know, around that length, 3.5 hours maybe. Top out around there would be nice. But we had a lot of ad breaks in between the matches, and one of them was they were advertising the new line of LJN figures. They brought the LJNs back, like last year. I think they brought them back. They had like Hogan and Dusty and Logan Paul and John Cena, right? I think those are the first 4. So then there was like another line of figures, and they announced, and this might have just been announced at Comic-Con, that they're coming out with a Heart Foundation 2-pack. And that drew my attention because when I was a kid, I never did have the Heart Foundation ones, or the Brett one. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'd be interested in that. And apparently today was the pre-sale on Target. They're a Target exclusive. And so somebody reminded me of this earlier, and they said, hey, they just opened up the pre-sales and they're available and they're discounted for like $40 if you want to jump on there and buy them. I'm like, oh shit. So I jump on Target.com earlier today, and there they are. They got the Heart Foundation. They got Brother Love. Who gives a fuck about Brother Love? And I click on the Heart Foundation one, and it looks like it's in stock. And I go add to cart, and it won't let me add to cart. It says items sold out. These are for pre-orders, by the way. I said, items sold out. It was just available. That quickly, gone. Gone with the wind. Actually, I was shocked at the ship date. They're not even shipping until May of next year. What the fuck? Fucking 10 months away. But it doesn't matter because they're already gone. Fuck off, LJN. Ridiculous. Doesn't even look like Brett. I was very mad about this. And then they have to have a commercial for it. Fuck off. We had the 6-man tag team match. It was LA Knight, it was Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys against Jacob Fatu and the Usos. The Bloodline got a special Gears of War, a video game entrance, or it was like a video game sponsored entrance. And Jacob Fatu, he entered wearing a werewolf mask. We haven't seen him wear that mask in a while. He's worn it a few times before. So the mask is kind of cool. Solo and Jay, they ended up in the ring together. And Solo, he turns to the hard cam.
Shut the fuck
He turns
up.
to the hard. Solo is great.
Fuck that tree.
Hey, Chief, thank you. Thank you for the learning tree. And Super Trebo with the subscribe. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Solo looks to the hard cam and he gives the signal to run it back. And they start playing Jey Uso's music. And fucking Solo Sikoa is standing in the middle of the ring. And he starts yeeting, and the entire crowd, like on the hard cam, you see everybody just standing up and yeeting along with Solo. And Jay is looking at this like, what the fuck? What do you do? You're jacking my entrance here. You're jacking my shit. But this was hilarious. Like the look, the giant smile on Solo's face. Amazing. How was this man ever a heel? Solo dropped Fatu with a Samoan drop, but Jacob no-sold it, got right back up to his feet. And he ended up dropping Solo with the pop-up Samoan drop and then a running senton. So the Bloodline worked over Solo in the corner. Crowd was chanting, "Let's go Solo." We're starting to hear that more and more. We heard that on Monday night when he was in the crowd. They started chanting, "Let's go Solo." They were chanting for me. It's very possible. I'm sure you're all at home right now when you tune into these streams and you're chanting that same thing. In fact, I want you to type that out in the chat. We got to get some "Let's go Solo" chants going. So Fatu hit Solo with a running hip attack in the corner, but then the two of them ended up colliding. They clotheslined each other. We got a double down. So anyway, Royce Keys tagged in and Jimmy Uso tagged in, and Keys planted him with the world's strongest slam. I guess that was maybe a little tribute to Mark Henry, who was in the crowd. They showed him in the crowd. In fact, the entire Busted Open crew was in the crowd. They had a shot of them later on. Right there was Dave LaGreca, Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, big smile, big cheesy smile on his face. Yeah. So there was a spot where Keys was on the ropes with Jimmy, and he was trying to pick him up. Again, like almost in a world's strongest slam position, but from the middle rope. But he was struggling, man. I mean, it was tough. I don't know if it was just like his positioning on the ropes, or he just couldn't get a good grip, or whatever it was. This was taking forever. And then finally he was able to power slam him off the ropes. Jimmy does look bigger. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but LA Knight and Jay, they got tagged in, and Jacob tried to jump into things. Knight knocked him off the apron, hit a big elbow for a near fall, and Jay came back with a spear for a near fall of his own. So Jay went up top. Knight, though, he popped up, did the leap up to the top that he does, and brought him down with a superplex. But Jimmy was on the top rope in the opposite corner, and he came diving off with an Uso splash. So then Solo took out Jimmy with a Uranagi. Fatu took out Solo with an implant DDT, the Impaler. Royce Keys, he drove Fatu into the mat with a spine buster, and then they ended up outside. And this was the big spot of the match right here, because Jacob charged in towards Royce, who was over by the Timekeeper's barricade. So here comes Jacob Fatu. Keys catches him as he comes charging in. He catches him for a power slam, and he power slams him over the Timekeeper's barricade to the floor on the other side, which is exposed. It's the concrete on the other side of the barricade. Keys goes over the barricade with him and nearly spikes himself face first down into the ground. I mean, this was a crazy spot, and that could have ended very badly. So that was like the one big holy shit spot of the match. Back inside, Jay hit Knight with a spear. Jimmy came off the top with an Uso splash, and he covered. Knight, though, kicked out at 2. And so the Usos set up for the 1D. Solo was on the apron, and he reaches over, and he delivers the Samoan spike to Jimmy. LA Knight then catches Jay with a BFT, and man, I'm kind of underselling it. He got all of that BFT. He fucking planted him, and I will say Jay sold this great. And LA Knight pins Jey Uso to win the 6-man tag team match. See, that I wasn't expecting that. That was a pleasant surprise. I have to say this. I feel vindicated, okay, for all the times, and you guys know, for all the times over the last several months that I have said that deep within, there is a babyface run, a great babyface run buried within Solo Sikoa. Why is he continuing to do the shit that they have him doing on TV? Why is this MFT stuff still going on? Why are the MFT still feuding with the Wyatt Six, right? How many times did we talk about this over and over and over again? And now it is starting to bear fruit. You are seeing, this is why I was saying it the entire time. It's amazing sometimes how if you just let somebody be more like themselves, how they can get over. The guy is a natural babyface. He's naturally charismatic and naturally funny. If you just let some of that shine through on TV, he will get over. He will get over. The only regret I have is that I had this whole idea in mind for the entire MFTs, not just Solo. Yeah, you could have gotten the whole group over. Instead, you fired half of them. And now Tala Tonga and Tama Tonga are going to be doing something with Haku, and we'll see where that goes. But Solo on his own as a babyface, this is how it needs to be. Any consideration to turning him back or there being a swerve or, you know, we don't want him to be a babyface for the long run, like that's bullshit. You got to put that idea out of your mind. If they're thinking about that, they need to not think about that and just keep riding this wave. Let him go out there, let him be himself, and he will continue to get over. And the crowds will continue to chant his name. And you see how far you can take it. So that is great to see. I was surprised the Bloodline lost. Pleasantly surprised even more so that LA Knight got the pin on Jey Uso. Again, I was not expecting that to take place. I don't know that it leads anywhere worthwhile. I gave up a long time ago getting my hopes up, assuming that there's really anything of substance in store for this guy, that they have some sort of big grand plan for him. They don't. But you never know, right? You're only one injury away, a spot opens up, and all of a sudden LA Knight's getting a big push. Not that I'm advocating for anybody to get hurt, but I have no faith whatsoever they have any real grand plans for him beyond what he's doing right now. For one night, though, he beat the Yeet Man, and he got the win for his team, and he wasn't looking up at the lights. I'll take it. Fun match. They kept up a good pace. I thought everybody had a chance to shine at different points, and the Bloodline ate shit for a change. This was an easy thumbs up. Then we had Gunther, the ring general, taking on the national treasure, Nick Aldis. This was Aldis's in-ring WWE debut. This was his first match in 3 years. He's been out of the ring. And they actually paid for Oasis. Not to perform live, but they paid for Morning Glory, which was a little difficult to hear when he initially came out. But then it became very clear listening to it what it was. And I'll be damned. I'm sure that didn't come cheap. I'm also sure that this is going to be edited off the replays on ESPN and or Netflix. I would be shocked if they keep that song in there, but they had to pay something for it, and I'm sure it wasn't cheap. I don't know how many people they're going to have to release in the next wave of cutbacks to pay for the song, but it just added to kind of the special nature of the occasion. And I'm sure for him, I don't know if he had a say in the song. I mean, he must have, but that was very unexpected. Because I was worried they were going to Def Rebel him. I started thinking about, like, oh man, when he comes out, like, what is he going to come out to? You know? God only knows what god-awful song they're going to have him come out to. So him coming out to that was a relief. And they introduced him as the National Treasure, which is the nickname he used to go by when he was the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. He looked incredible. I mean, he really did. Like, he got himself, he was already in shape, but like whatever work he's put into things over the last several weeks, it paid off. Just cosmetically, he looked like he can just, he could be on the active roster right now. It wouldn't look out of place at all. So he was in great shape. They also acknowledged him on the screen. They put a graphic up showing some of his past accomplishments. And They acknowledged him as I think a 2-time TNA tag team champion, but said nothing about him being an NWA champion, I just found that funny. His wife, Mickie James, and their son Donovan were in the front row for this match. I popped at Michael Cole talking about Aldis's appearance last week on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, which is a great interview, by the way, if you didn't see it. But wait, according to Cole, it was the NWE. Is that what he said? Yeah, Cole is, he's just been awful lately. The NWE, I'm sure there is a promotion out there called NWE. I don't think Nick Aldis ever wrestled for them, but I'm sure they exist somewhere. What I was going to say is I popped at Michael Cole. He was talking about Aldis appearing on Chris's podcast and never acknowledged the fact that in the front row on the hard cam right there, I think as he was saying it, let alone all night, he was right there in the front row was Chris Van Vliet. He was sitting right there. Never even acknowledged him. But he did mention that he was on his podcast. I should have texted Chris during the show. Just to fuck with him. And then like while I'm watching, I'll see him look down at his phone and know that it was me. See, but I didn't do it though. I didn't want to bother him. There was a very impressive spot early on here in this match where Aldis, he caught Gunther out of midair and then muscled him up into a vertical suplex. Aldis went to the ropes. Gunther came over, though he chopped him off the ropes, and Aldis took a hard bump down to the floor. So Gunther, he went over and got in Mickey's face in the front row at ringside. See, I thought they were setting up for a spot late in the match, where like he would saunter on over to Mickey and then Mickey would like slap him in the face or something. They didn't do anything like that. Go to put the kid in the sleeper hold and then Mickey smacks him or something. I don't know. When they show the family on screen, immediately you think angle alerts, right? It's kind of ingrained in me as a wrestling fan to think, okay. And Mickey, obviously herself being a wrestler, but they never did factor into the match. So a little bit later on, Gunther, he escaped a cloverleaf attempt. He locked in a sleeper. Aldis sent Gunther into the turnbuckles to break the sleeper hold. But Gunther then mowed him down with a hard lariat, and he tried to go up top. Aldis, though, cut him off with a superplex. And at this point, the crowd was chanting, "You still got it," or as Michael Cole said, "You still have it." Does he just make shit up as things go? I don't know. I don't know what it is with him, man. How long has he been doing this for now? 30 years? So Aldis caught Gunther with a flying clothesline. Then he hit a British Bulldog-style power slam for a near fall. Aldis put Gunther down with a slam before hitting a top rope diving elbow. Then he followed up with another top rope elbow. And then he got the cloverleaf applied. And the crowd was invested in this, man, because when he got that submission locked on, and it's not like he's ever wrestled for them before. It's not like it's been established that this is his moveset and this is his finishing move. And people were popping for it, man. I mean, they were fully into it. Gunther eventually grabbed the bottom rope for the break. Gunther got another sleeper applied. Aldis, though, quickly reversed it to a big pop. And Gunther broke the hold with a Saito suplex and then locked in yet another sleeper. This time he has him down on the mat, and that's not the place to be. Aldis was able to fight up to his feet. Gunther takes him back down again, and then eventually Aldis is forced to tap out. After Gunther left, they stopped the music, and Aldis got to his feet. Nice, respectful ovation, standing ovation and applause from the crowd. Mickey comes into the ring along with young Donovan, and we have a nice little family celebration in the middle of the ring. And again, for the fans who want to chant, "You still got it, you still got it." One thing that Aldis proved in the ring tonight in this match, he never lost it. It's always been there. He was just waiting for the opportunity. If you watch the interview with Chris Van Vliet, he got very emotional when he was talking about this match coming up and starts crying. He can barely speak. And he just says, after like a minute of not being able to speak, he just goes, "This is," in so many words, it was like, "This is special. Like this match, this means a lot." He basically said, like, "This is my shot. This is the shot he's been waiting for years. He's getting it now." I don't know how old. Is he 39, 40? He's in that range. It took this long, but this was his shot. So again, him going out there and the presentation with the music and everything, and him coming out being in shape like that, and towel around the neck, the national treasure, everything just had to be pitch perfect because he doesn't know when or if he's going to have another chance to go out there in WWE and do this. This may be it. We don't know. It took him 3 years to get this guy in the ring. If this is going to be the only shot he has, he wants to make the most of it. Well, he can be very proud of what he did tonight. There was nothing in this match that would lead you to believe that this man shouldn't be in the ring. He didn't embarrass himself. He didn't gas himself out. He didn't, slip on the ropes there was nothing. Everything was pitch perfect. And the match played out exactly the way I figured it would. He got some hope spots in there. He had the crowd behind him, but in the end, Gunther took him to the mat and he put him out. Because there was no other outcome here. I know for the sake of the story and making people happy, it would have been great to give him a happy moment with his family there. But what does that accomplish if he's just going to go back in the suit and tie and become the GM again? And now you got Gunther on SmackDown and it's like, okay, you've been beaten by the general manager of the show. Oh boy, that really helps Gunther. There could be no other outcome here. It played out exactly the way that I expected it to and the way that it should have. Now, I said earlier when the show went off the air, for those of you who were joining late, Aldis confronted Triple H and tried to hand him a letter of resignation as the GM of SmackDown. And he said, look, I accept my fate. I may not be able to be the GM anymore because I wanted this match. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve. And Triple H said, not so fast. I'm reinstating you. So he is going to stay on as the GM of SmackDown. And we'll see if he wrestles again at some point. Maybe a cameo in a Rumble or something. I could see that. But it would be very awkward, to have to shoot an angle every single time he's going to feud with this person or that person to, kind of pull him from the GM position. So if you got to make a decision, I think the right decision is to keep him in the GM spot. Now, as far as Gunther, who picked up the win here, where does he go coming out of this, right? Probably not the WWE title picture. Frankly, I don't really want him in the title picture. Been there, done that. We already did that a few months ago. There is a number one contenders match coming up tomorrow in night 2 between Sami Zayn and Finn Balor that I believe Finn Balor is winning. I mentioned that last week. And so Gunther on Friday, yesterday, attacked both of them, making it very clear that he wants to be the number one contender. That could be setting up something between Gunther and Finn Balor. Balor, if he wins, he may get his title match first, but coming out of that, I would love to see something with Balor and Gunther, right? They've had maybe one match before on TV on Raw many years ago, but they've never had a proper feud. So that could be, to me, that's actually the likely direction, if I had to guess, for Gunther as we go forward. After this, we had more 6-person tag team action. This was quite the departure from the one that we had earlier. This was the opposite of the 6-person tag we had earlier. This was Fatal Influence, JC Jane and the women's tag team champions Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed taking on Paige and the now reunited Bella twins, now that Nikki Bella is back. This was a mess. That's what this was. This was a mess, and the crowd was quiet for most of it. But there was an early cannonball outside the ring by JC Jane to Brie Bella up against the ring steps. And I'm pretty sure this is where she got hurt because Brie immediately clutched her right shoulder. I don't know if it was the shoulder, the collarbone, but there was some injury that took place. How about it? How about it? Venom Kitetsu with the $14 super chat. See, this is becoming a very popular one. Psy Guy is here. Thanks for the content, man. All right, well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. But from that cannonball spot, from that point forward, she kept clutching that shoulder. She would not let go of it. It was clearly bothering her for the rest of the match. So whenever she tagged back in, she was basically useless in the ring. She was like a one-arm woman in there. She couldn't do anything. She could barely take any bumps. She was trying to protect her arm. It was very clear to me as a fan, as an observer, just watching at home, on my fucking iPad, watching this show. I can't imagine that, there weren't people in the back who could tell that she was hurt. You have 2 other women that are on her team. And it's not like they were doing any sort of like convoluted spots that, we need Brie. Like, let her just tag out. Why was she still in there doing stuff that she clearly was in no condition to do? I don't know why she was able to stay in the match. And the referee didn't just communicate to her, like, get out of the ring. Let the doctor go check on you. But there was an embarrassing spot late where she was supposed to throw JC Jane out of the ring, but she couldn't do anything except move out of the way. And JC basically had to throw herself out of the ring to the floor. Paige got a blind tag, caught JC with a sunset flip for a near fall. But then after a distraction, JC caught her with the rolling encore, and she pinned Paige to win the match. So even though she lost the match for her team, the Bellas, they embraced Paige. They said it's okay, and they gave her a hug. And then when that was over, predictably, the Bella Twins attacked Paige and turned heel in the process. Brie threw a few very weak kicks because that's really all she could do. It was mostly just Nikki beating the crap out of Paige, and she dropped her with a rack attack. Triple H announced that on the post show, Brie is now injured. Well, yeah, I mean, that I didn't need Triple H to tell me that. I could tell she was injured. Hopefully it's not too serious. I don't like to see anybody get hurt, but it was pretty clear. I mean, 90 seconds or whatever it was into the match, it was pretty clear the shoulder demon. Again, I said collarbone potentially. Probably it looked like more of a shoulder injury. The shoulder demon, it looks like, may have taken another one tonight. He's been on vacation. We haven't heard from the shoulder demon in a while. I guess we were overdue. But then after Nikki lays out Paige and the Bellas are leaving together, and Brie looks very upset. That was the other giveaway. Like, she knew something was probably badly wrong. She didn't seem very happy about that. But Nikki is just kind of like muttering to herself and just talking out loud. And she says, "Don't ever take my spot." And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. You're the one who chose Paige to be in the spot that was supposed to belong to you, but you got hurt. You chose Paige. You made the phone call to bring her in. And that's why she won the tag team championships with your sister. How did she take your spot? I mean, that's on you. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's a sign. One Bella gets hurt. She's gone for months. Literally, her first match back and her sister gets hurt. And she's probably going to be gone for weeks at a minimum because it didn't look good. So I don't know what that means now for whatever their plans are. There was somebody in the chat yesterday, I think on the stream, who suggested that maybe the direction is the Bellas turn on Paige. Paige then brings in AJ Lee, her old friend, AJ Lee. They were tag team partners at a WrestleMania, weren't they? WrestleMania 31, I believe. And then we end up with Paige and AJ feuding with the Bellas. I'm not sure who was asking for that, but I said, yeah, you know what? I could see that. Well, now what? I'm not saying that was the plan. I'm just saying I could see that being the plan. And whatever the plan was for the Bellas, if you're one Bella down, do they put Nikki on ice or what do they do here? I don't know. It would seem to me like we may get Paige and Nikki in a one-on-one feud. Again, I don't know if anyone is asking for this or itching to see this, but they may not have a choice now. So already it was time for the WWE Championship match. It was Cody Rhodes challenging CM Punk. And I have to show you this image because Cody had a very special... Now, for those of you who don't know, Cody Rhodes is going to be in a movie coming out in October, a little movie called Street Fighter. Roman Reigns is in that same movie. Roman Reigns plays Akuma. and Cody is going to play Guile. I saw the Mortal Kombat movie. Well, I saw Mortal Kombat 2 when it came out a few months ago, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. I will see Street Fighter. I saw the trailer for it. It looks like dumb fun. I was a big Street Fighter fan, back in the day, and played Street Fighter 2 Turbo and some of the other ones. And they took the graphics for this intro here right out of Street Fighter 2 because they had a main menu screen, and then it went to your character select screen, which is what you see right now. I actually thought this was very cool. I love this retro shit. I mean, look at the intro I used for the stream tonight. Can't you tell? I'm a big fan of the 8-bit days. So they put this up, but I was looking at the character selection screen, which I will draw your attention to right now. And obviously here they chose Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and that was cool. But look at the other characters that they included here. And I'm looking at this, and I see Javon Evans is there, and Jade Cargill is there. There's Gunther. There's Danhausen because of fucking course. He's everywhere. And there's Cody and Becky and Sammy and Ray. And then I'm like, is that Ricky? Is that Ricky Saints? I believe it is. And I thought to myself, that was totally Cody. Now it makes sense why Ricky Saints would be in there. It was Cody's entrance. I'm sure Cody was like, hey, you know what? Let's get my boy Ricky in there. He's not getting a lot of love on TV these days. So let's get Ricky in there. I'll tell you what, though. I would play the shit out of this game if this was real. I would. I'd be all over that. Gives me TJ Perkins vibes, if anyone remembers. I do remember that. Yes. Old TJP. So Cody comes out, and he is wearing his skull mask. But the skull mask has, Guile hair attached to it, or it was part of the mask or whatever, because that's the character he plays in the movie. This whole thing, Cody just sort of appeared on the stage, got no reaction. The crowd was very, very quiet for all this, which is kind of the way they were for Cody, honestly, as he came to the ring. Then we got the CM Punk entrance, and they followed him the long walk through the back and through Gorilla and then out onto the stage. No music. They did the same thing at WrestleMania this year. And the camera's behind Punk, so you see his back, and then you kind of look out into all the vast sea of fans, right? 37,000 or whatever they have there. And then the music kicks in, and then he makes his way down to the ring. I would say that nearly the first half of the match, I can't even say quarter of the match, I would say close to the first half of the match, very slow, very dull, very plodding at times, but they knew they were working 30 minutes. And so they started slow, and the idea was to build. And I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. They were working body parts. And sometimes in matches like this, when you take the time to work a body part and to work a limb, psychologically, it might make sense and it might factor into things that are going to happen later on in the match. But in the moment, it can be pretty fucking boring. And that's what this match was. Long stretches of just nothing, where they're just working over a body part, and then they get, kind of shunned away, and then they go back to it again. They repeat the same spot over again, drag and screw, or whatever the case may be. So with Cody, it was Punk working over Cody's left arm. And then Cody started working over Punk's left knee. So finally, things started to pick up a little bit here, because I was getting very restless as I'm watching this match. And it's time for Cody to go to sleep. All right, now we're going into the finisher spam phase of the match here. They didn't go too hard on that. But he went for the GTS. Cody elbows his way out of it, still favoring the arm. He goes for the Cody cutter. He drops Punk. Goes for the pin, 2 count only. So Cody follows that with a disaster kick for another near fall. Now he's setting up for a super Cody cutter, and he nails it. And he covers. Again, Punk kicks out. So now he's teasing the crossroads, and you could hear fans booing. They certainly weren't cheering. There were definitely boos that were noticeable. Punk avoids the attempt. Schoolboy, only for 2. Punk goes for the GTS. Cody, though, catches the leg on the way down, and he gets Punk down, and he locks on the figure 4 leg lock. And he's been working over the leg. He's been working over the knee. So now he's going to the figure 4. And when he gets the figure 4 applied, now the crowd is starting to come alive. Now the crowd is responding, and they're starting to really get into it here. And Punk is screaming, and he's trying to reverse out of the hold. And finally, he's able to roll over, and he forces a rope break. So Cody went for it again. Punk pulled him forward, though. I thought he was pulling him forward into a small package, but he transitioned into the Anaconda device. And Cody very easily gets his foot on the bottom rope to force the break. So then Cody, this was kind of a weird spot. Cody gets him up in an Alabama slam position. I'm like, oh, he's hearkening back to his tag team days with Hardcore Holly here. It's like when Steve Austin was feuding with Brett. And he was still using the $1 Million Dream that he took from Ted DiBiase. So he gets him in position for the Alabama Slam, which I guess now is, though it's Tiffany Stratton's move, so can't use it now because it's her move. But instead of giving him an Alabama Slam, he starts spinning, and he gives him an airplane spin. And I'm not sure why. I mean, the airplane spin spot was always funny to me because you make yourself just as dizzy. But he gives him an airplane spin, and then Punk just transitioned out of it and back into the Anaconda device. So it was kind of a stupid spot, and I'm not really sure what the point of that was. But he got out of it. He drops Punk with a crossroads. He covered him. Punk kicked out, and he got a big pop for doing so. So now Cody is standing over Punk, and he reaches down to pick him up, and he places Punk on the top rope, and Cody follows him up. Punk, though, fights him off, and he back elbows him all the way down to the mat. And then CM Punk is on the ropes, and he's looking back at Cody, and I'm like, what's he going to do here? Is he going to go for his top rope elbow? I mean, what are we about to see here? CM Punk, at 48 years old, decides, you know what I've never done in my career? This would be a really good time to debut a new move off the top rope. Now, I could sit here and lie to you and tell you that, CM Punk went for a spiral tap, or he went for a fucking Phoenix Splash. And that would have been pretty crazy. This was just as crazy, though. He went for a moonsault. Now, the closest thing I could compare it to is when Terry Funk would do those moonsaults and they were kind of crooked. Like, they never looked pretty, right? But he would hit them. CM Punk, I guess, maybe went for his own version, because we know he's a big Terry Funk fan. He went for his own version, I guess, of a Terry Funk moonsault. It was very clear to me that he had never even tried this with like a crash pad or anything like that. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if right before they went out there, he's like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to try a moonsault. Yeah. He almost killed Cody on the way down. Cody was able to like narrowly avoid Punk landing on top of his head. That's how far off the mark Punk was. And even in doing the moonsault, when I tell you that he did a moonsault, in your head, you probably picture him doing a moonsault and just missing. No, I can't even describe to you like the direction that his body went in as he attempted this move. It was the worst moonsault that I have ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen, truly, I cannot off the top of my head remember ever in my life seeing a moonsault worse than this. And I use that word moonsault very lightly, by the way. I'm not sure what else to call it. If I don't call it a moonsault, I wouldn't even know what else to call it. But yes, he nearly killed himself. He nearly killed Cody. I'm sure his life flashed before his eyes. First thing I thought of was the Bart Simpson meme, right? With the birthday cake. At least you tried. At least you tried. I wish he hadn't. That's a very dumb thing for him to try. It's like Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel last year. Seth Rollins is the world heavyweight champion. And he's wrestling Cody, and he's like, he's going to do a coast-to-coast. But it's not enough to do a regular coast-to-coast drop kick. He has to do a coast-to-coast headbutt. Which sounds really fucking stupid because you're really putting yourself in danger when you land, and you got to brace yourself just the right way. And so what did he do? He landed on his shoulder. He blew his shoulder out. Now you have to vacate the championship. You're out for months. Storylines go out the window. WrestleMania this year would have looked very different had Seth not gotten hurt, all because he had to do a move that I've never seen him do before. And Punk's even older than him. Don't do that again. The Unk salt. Is that what we're going to call it? The Unk salt? A cartwheel off the top. Yeah. A sidewinder. He's lucky he didn't hurt himself. I mean, seriously, you're the fucking champion, dude. The entire brand is now built around CM Punk. Let me go do a moonsault. My grandmother could do a better moonsault than him, okay? And she's been dead for 25 years. Don't do that again. So then there was a GTS attempt, and he nailed it. But Punk hurt his knee on the landing, right? Cody's head collided with Punk's left knee, which is the knee that was being worked over earlier. So took him a few extra seconds, but he crawled over to make the cover. And when he did, Cody kicked out. And Cody rolled out to the floor, and Punk followed him outside. He bounces him off the Spanish announce desk a few times. And Punk then clears off the desk. He climbs on top of it. Cody, though, sweeps the leg. And then he sends Punk very weakly into the ring steps. Cody suddenly realized that, like, he hears Charles Robinson is up to like 8. He's like, oh shit. So he rolls into the ring very quickly to break the count. And then he rolls back out to the floor. He takes apart the English announce desk, but he rolls Punk back into the ring instead. And when Cody follows him in, Punk hoists him up for another GTS. And he covers him, and Punk grabs the bottom rope to save the match. So back out to the floor they go. Punk lays him flat on top of the announce desk, and then he turns and he stares at the top rope. And I'm like, did you not learn your lesson after the fucking moonsault that we just saw? So he thinks he's Logan Paul now, and he goes into the ring. I think he did this to Roman at WrestleMania. The one thing look, you got to say this about Punk, okay? All due credit. He doesn't hold back in these matches. It would be very easy for him to just play it safe and don't do anything too risky, right? Because just coast on my name and people are going to cheer for me no matter what I do. But he's out there doing fucking moonsaults. He's doing diving elbows from the top rope through the announce desk. He's tempting fate every time he does this. But he certainly doesn't hold back. So he climbs up to the top rope. And he dives for the elbow. Cody, though, rolls off the desk. And Punk took this horrible bump, just crashing through the desk. He took it mostly knees first, which I think was the idea. Because Michael Cole on commentary just wouldn't shut up now. Like, oh, he landed on the bad knee. He landed on the bad knee. Even though he really landed on the right knee, more so than the left one. But I guess he had that in his notes. So that was the idea anyway, that he landed on the bad knee. But I mean, it was just a fucking terrible landing. It looked like it sucked. So Cody very quickly gets him back in the ring, and he goes for a super Cody cutter. Punk, though, moves out of the way, and Cody collides with Charles Robinson. Poor little Nate. How old is he now? God, he's been around forever. He's great. He's got to be at least 60, though. Mid-60s, maybe? Got to be around 60-ish. He'll always be Lil Nate to me, though, no matter how old he gets. So I don't know if the idea was that Cody was going to like drop him with the cutter. He didn't really hit him with a cutter. He just sort of collided with him. And that's really all he needed to do. And so down goes Charles Robinson. Punk then gets Cody up for another go to sleep. Cody, he hits it. Cody staggers backwards into the ropes, bounces off, and just falls back on top of Punk's shoulders. So he's going to go for another GTS. This time, though, Cody slips out and he hits the crossroads. And Punk rolls out to the floor. He's got the presence of mind to roll out to the floor. We have, he's 62. 61? All right. Yeah, he's somewhere in that range. Robinson is either 61 or 62. God bless him, man. He's still out there doing it. Truly one of the nice guys in wrestling. You will not find anyone to say a bad word about him. You know what I also think is cool about Charles Robinson? He is a big like collector of horror memorabilia. He's got like a bunch of it in his basement. And I think that's pretty cool. I think he and I would get along very well. I would love to see what his collection looks like. But Punk rolls out to the floor. So you knew something was about to go down because the ref got bumped. Punk just rolled out to the floor. And here's Randy Orton. I don't know why I sounded like Meatloaf there for a second. Randy Orton. That still lives rent-free in my head. God, when Meatloaf was on Raw. Randy Orton hits the ring. The reports were true. Is anybody going to give Uncle Dave credit for that? Of course not. But he gets into the ring, Cody turns around, and Randy Orton drops him with an RKO out of nowhere. And then Orton looks into the hard cam when he gets up, gives it a little wink, and then he slips out of the ring and back into the crowd. And Charles Robinson rolls back into the ring. CM Punk rolls back into the ring. None the wiser. He has no idea what just happened. He didn't see any of this. And GTS to Cody, covers him. Here comes Robinson. 1, 2, and 3. And CM Punk retains the World Heavyweight Champion, or the WWE Championship, I should say. Got my titles mixed up. Punk was the World Heavyweight Champion earlier this year. So what we ended up with here, no post-match angle, which was a little surprising. Obviously no turn, no heel turn for Cody or anybody really. The match itself, it started out very slow, but it built nicely. And the crowd really locked in there for that final stretch. I don't know how long it was. I mean, the final 5 or 6 minutes at least. They were really locked in. They were hanging on to the near falls. Again, Punk, he just threw it all out there, man. That moonsault, the diving elbow. Cody, I guess Cody really didn't do anything too out of the ordinary. And they ended up having a good match. It really did feel like the first. It felt like they were holding back in some respects. Even though they went 30 minutes or almost 30 minutes, it was still the first match. And you have to imagine they're going to run this back at least one more time. I don't know if it'll end up being a whole series where they do 3 or 4 of them, or if we're not going to see this again until WrestleMania in Saudi next year, right? And they just sort of get away from it for a while, which I think is very possible. Because obviously, we have Cody taking the loss here, which is the right outcome, by the way. There is a very real thing called Cody fatigue. I know many of you have been feeling it already for many months, even before I started feeling it. And now a lot more people are feeling it, and it's good to have a break from him as the champion. He doesn't need the belt. Cody's already a made guy in this company. He finished his story. He's been the champion 3 or 4 times now. And it's okay to, he'll always be in the mix. He's not going to be feuding with Baron Corbin in the mid-card, but he doesn't need the title. There's just a sameness to it after a while. He's not Stone Cold Steve Austin at the height of his popularity in the Attitude Era, where you can get away with keeping the belt on him because he's super over. Even someone like him, Rock and Austin, they never had any long title reigns. They were constantly being beaten and having the title taken away from them and being screwed because the money is in the chase. And so if the fans want to see Cody chase for the belt, they'll let you know that. Right now, the crowds, they're not responding the same way to Cody as they were 6 months ago. You can hear it. You can hear it each week on SmackDown, right? He gets cheered, but it's not as vociferously as it might have been a year ago. And now Punk is the new guy on SmackDown. He's going to be your top babyface now. Cody now moves into a non-title feud, seemingly, with Randy Orton. And as far as my thoughts on that, as I said earlier, they did a lot of damage for me anyway. As someone who is really looking forward to that match at WrestleMania this year, the whole inclusion of McAfee and the departure from, the whole just departure from what the story was supposed to be to what they ended up doing really soured me on it. But now months have gone by. McAfee is a distant memory. And they're going to try again with Cody and Randy. They're going to pick things back up. They're going to resume things. I understand it because the way they left it the last time we saw Orton, he kicked this guy in the head. He punted him in the head. So why wouldn't Cody want to go after him? Now he's been given a really good reason to because Randy just fucked him out of the championship. So you're going to go off and do that non-title, which I think is fine. And then as far as Punk, Again, he name dropped a whole bunch of people on the show a few weeks ago that he would love to get in the ring with and defend the title against. Almost like little side quests. He just had a segment on SmackDown last night in the back with Trick Williams. You know, they were teasing that at some point you could do that. We're going to get a number one contenders match tomorrow. It's going to be Balor or Sammy. I would imagine that's going to lead to a television match. So you can have Punk doing other things in the meantime. And then there's Kevin Owens. I hope Kevin Owens is on SmackDown when he comes back. And I would love for them to build something with Punk and Owens. I would love it. I think Kevin Owens fans would end up being very disappointed if they don't put the belt on him. They feel like, kind of like Balor, where so many years have gone by. And I mean, I guess there's a lot of similarities between them, really, because Balor was never WWE champion. He was Universal champion. Kevin Owens was never WWE champion. He was Universal champion. And then all these years have gone by. Actually, Kevin Owens only became the Universal champion because Finn Balor got hurt. Holy shit, I forgot about that. So here we are 10 years later. People have been clamoring for a Kevin Owens title run. It's not fair. How come KO can't get a run, right? Well, who knows? Maybe now he can. You know, maybe you do an extended feud with him and CM Punk. I hope we get to see that match. I really do. Do we see Owens pop up tomorrow night during night 2? Possible, but I mean, in what way, though? What would he be doing on the show? You know, maybe he comes back. He's not going to go after Punk right away, let's say. But like, who would he be working with? Who would he be feuding with on SmackDown? Would he tie in with Sami Zayn in some way? I don't know. We saw Orton tonight. We could see Owens tomorrow. I just don't know where he really... I don't know where he really fits into the picture with the people who are on that show tomorrow. Unless he's on Raw. Unless they move him to Raw. Maybe we see him after the Roman and Seth match, but I don't see that. I don't see that. And let's not forget, Drew McIntyre is also still, you know, on his way back soon. I can't imagine they put Orton, Owens, and McIntyre all on SmackDown. Plus, you already got Cody and Punk. I mean, I'd be pretty pissed if I was Netflix. You would think one of them would have to end up on Raw. You know, maybe Drew. But then we had the main event, which was Brock Lesnar in his home state of Minnesota. Actually, I say home state. He wasn't born in Minnesota, but went to college and wrestled in Minnesota. He is forever linked to the state of Minnesota. I think he was a Gopher. Was he a Gopher? I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was because I think he and Shelton, they went to school together, and I know Shelton Benjamin was a Gopher. Anyway, Brock Lesnar back home against Femi, and this was contested inside Hell in a Cell. This was only the second Hell in a Cell match in SummerSlam history. The first one being Undertaker and Edge 18 years ago. Oba was out to the ring first. I can't be the only one who looks at that necklace around his neck and notices that it seems to be getting bigger every time he comes out here for a match. Tony Schiavone says, hometown of Minnesota. Ah, Tony. Yes, Tony Schiavone, who on Wednesday's Dynamite said that Andrade was going to have a match in his hometown of Mexico. That's what he said. His hometown of Mexico. It's a big town. That's a very big town. Brock Lesnar came out. First thing I noticed about Brock, when he came out with Heyman, he had elbow pads on. And I realized, I said, I don't think I've seen Brock Lesnar wearing elbow pads since his first run in like 2004. So I immediately thought he must be wearing them for a reason. Like they must have some big spot planned and he wants to protect his elbows or something. But yeah, he looked weird. He looked a little weird wearing elbow pads. Michael Cole on commentary gave a shout out to his old partner Taz. And he dropped the line, "Here comes the pain," when Brock came out. So that was kind of cool. Cole and Taz, by the way, very underrated announce duo. So we had the entrances, and then they finally lowered the cell. The cell was like halfway down. They waited until after they were both in the ring. They did the in-ring intros, and then they finally lowered it. And everything here, it just took forever. The bell sounded to start the match. It was 8:51 p.m. A good 25 minutes had passed since the end of the last match. So Brock out of the gate here. 1 German suplex, 2 Germans, 3 Germans. But Oba bounces right up to his feet, and he clotheslines Brock out over the top to the floor. Not a lot of room there between the cage and the ring, but again, in a Hell in a Cell match, you could obviously brawl outside the ring. So Lesnar ends up sending him shoulder first into the steel steps, and he tried to suplex Oba on the floor, just a regular suplex, not a German. Oba stuffed it. He ended up suplexing Brock on the floor, and then he sent Lesnar into the steps. Oba pulls out a Slim Jim table, and he props it up against the side of the cell, which now that I think about it, this may have been the only spot technically in the match to actually make use of the cell, and they weren't even really making use of the cell. I mean, they were making use of the table more than they were the cell. But he props the table up against the cell. He goes back and actually he throws Brock into the table, so Brock crashes through the table. He gets Brock back into the ring. And Lesnar hits Oba with 3 straight shots with the steel steps. I didn't even notice that he had put the steps in the ring. Hits him, and he hits him hard too. 3 straight times with the ring steps, right in the skull. Then we got a 4th German. We got a 5th German. The welts were showing on Lesnar's pale body. Now Brock takes a chair right to Oba's back, and then he hits him again. And at this point, I just wrote in my notes, I just noticed the fucking chair has a Wingstop ad on it. This is the first time I noticed this. Now they have branded chairs on this show. There's no end. There's no end to it. We have the Fireball ladder. We have the Slim Jim table. We have the Wingstop chair. What's next? We're going to get branding on the ring steps. It's inevitable. We'll have the KFC steps. They could put something on the ring bell, perhaps. They could put ads on the lids of the announce desks. I don't think they've done ads on there yet, but they put other logos on there. We'll have that, right? We already have ads on the ring posts. We have ads on the mat. We have ads on the LED barricades. Actually, during the Cody match, they had a Street Fighter ad on there. What other objects can they brand? Unbelievable. Panda Express kendo sticks. Oh, it's only a matter of time. You give it time. Give it time. Fucking Wingstop chairs. You have got to be kidding me. No, the Kalshi kendo sticks. I like that. That's better. So Brock went for an F5. Oba countered out, and he caught Brock coming off the ropes into a giant choke slam. We got a brief double down here. Then they repeated the same spot with the F5 attempt. Oba slips out, delivers a choke slam. I don't know why they redid that again. I don't really understand that. But he picks up Brock. He beals him. He didn't beal him the way that he bealed JD McDonough on TV the other week, but he threw Brock. And then he was setting up for a fall from grace. And he popped Brock up into the air, and he dropped him, and Brock kicked out at 2. Which I believe makes him the first person to kick out of the fall from grace. I don't remember if he kicked out of one in Italy. Clash in Italy. I don't remember. I think this was the first time. So then he followed that with an F5, and then a second F5. Oba staggers back up to his feet into a third F5. There's the cover. Oba kicks out. So Brock goes back to the Wingstop chair for more shots to the back. He bends the chair across Oba's back, and now Brock starts ripping up the canvas. And then he pulls up the padding underneath the canvas to expose the wooden boards, the support beams, the boards underneath. And so now we know why this match went on last. You can't rip up the ring and then send the main event out to the ring. This has to be the main event. So this is at least one of the reasons why this match went on last. Brock gets him up for another F5. He's going to give him an F5 on the boards. As he's holding Oba up in the air, Brock looks straight ahead into the camera. He does the Undertaker throat slash. And then he maneuvers Oba into position for a tombstone piledriver. And he delivers a tombstone piledriver onto the exposed boards. And then he crosses Oba's arms and he sticks his tongue out and he does the Undertaker pin. And Oba kicks out. Oba kicked out of an Undertaker tombstone from Brock Lesnar onto the wooden beams. Look at that. He kicked out of a tombstone on the wooden boards. I guess this was like Brock's tribute to the one man he's ever wrestled inside Hell in a Cell. The only 2 cell matches Brock ever had coming into tonight were both with The Undertaker. So I guess that was his little tribute. Tribute to the AEW No Cell. Yeah, it's very possible. That's what it was. This was Brock, his little redemption tribute for the pay-per-view last weekend. All the kickouts we got on that show. So Brock grabs the chair. He gets it punched back into his face. And then Oba hits the fall from grace. Not on the boards, though. And I'm watching this. I'm like, did he not intend to do it on the boards? But I'm pretty sure Brock at one point, I thought I saw him kind of glance back at the boards as if he was like making sure he was in the right position. Oba hit the fall from grace and it was not on the boards. So my guess is that the intent was to do it on the boards and they just missed. And he just dropped him on the mat. But then he pinned him. 1, 2, 3. Now, on the one hand, I'm glad that Brock only kicked out of his finisher once. Right? I mean, it would have sucked to see him kick out of it for a second time. But like, it just ended. And I'm like, that's it? That's like, we're barely 12 minutes. We're like 11 minutes and 50 something. I timed it on my phone. I was curious how long this match was going to go. 11 minutes and 53 seconds is what it came out to here for this main event. They were done. Now the bell rang at 8:51. The match was done by 9:03. And I had a lot of thoughts going through my head when this was over. My first thought was, this did not need Hell in a Cell. Now, my guess is the reason they did it is because Brock was undefeated in the cell, and it's another notch in the cap of Oba Femi to be able to say that he not only beat Brock Lesnar twice, but he became the first man and only man ever to beat him inside Hell in a Cell. And that sounds all impressive and shit, but at the end of the day, I'm watching this match and I'm expecting to see something special from these two. You've told us that this is going to be inside the cell. These men have been trying to get at each other in the worst way. Like Oba on Monday night, man, he couldn't get to Brock because the cage was between them. He wanted to tear this man to shreds. And I'm expecting, okay, there's a reason why this is a cell match. There's going to be all kinds of chaos. Something's going to happen. They had a regular fucking match. Like we see plunder matches on TV all the time. Kendo sticks and chairs and ladders and stairs. We didn't see anything out of the ordinary. When we saw Punk and McIntyre, they got blood in that match, so that made that match unique. In this match, there was nothing. There was nothing out of the ordinary that you could not have done in any typical no disqualification match, or if you wanted to do a last man standing match. The cell served no purpose. In terms of the match, okay, forget them being able to say, oh, but beat Brock. Who gives a shit? As far as Hell in a Cell matches go, one of the more underwhelming ones that you will ever see. I can't say it's the worst Hell in a Cell match they've ever done. It wasn't a bad match. It didn't serve any purpose, which I think is the worst thing that you could say about a Hell in a Cell match. When the cage doesn't even really come into play and you're left saying, wow, this really didn't need to be a Hell in a Cell match. It's not a bad match, but it's a bad Hell in a Cell match. They didn't make use of the cell. I mean, you don't have to climb up to the tippy top, but my God, the cell is its own like living, breathing thing. It's like the third man out there. And it just never came into play. So that's number one. Number two, the match was just getting good. It was just about to kick into high gear, and then it ended. You could have gotten another 4 or 5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes out of this match. Right? They would have had to come up with some other big spot to do instead of doing the same shit over and over again. Because honestly, how many more times are they going to kick out of an F5 or a fucking fall from grace? But it's like, that's all they had in mind here. And then it's like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And that's all she wrote. And I was just very underwhelmed when it was over. I'm glad Oba won, but I had higher expectations for this, and this did not meet those expectations, unfortunately. And when I saw they were putting it in the main event, it only reinforced my thought that they must have something planned here. I guess what they had planned was Brock ripping up the canvas. Ooh. Okay. I'm sorry, that's not enough. So you got an 11-minute, plunder match for your main event. Oba wins, which was the predictable outcome. It was the right outcome. And they have the closing credits. Paul Levesque, Lee Fitting, like they're going off the air. But we're not done yet, because Brock and Heyman, they come back down to the ring. Right? The music stops. They climb into the ring. Brock goes over and he hugs Oba. And then he raises his arm. And then he asks for the microphone. And he said, Minnesota, and the whole wide world watching this shit tonight. This is the future of WWE. He goes, come here, Oba. He goes, congratulations. He goes, this is the past. And he points to himself. And then he points at Oba and he goes, this is the future. And I believe I spied Paul Heyman also shaking hands with Oba Femi. We don't necessarily need to read too much into that, right? Brock shook his hand, so did Heyman. But if Brock is going away for a while, it could open up, and people have floated this idea that, it could open up Paul Heyman to, take on Oba Femi as his newest client. To which I would say it's not needed. Oba is doing just fine on his own without having to, work Paul Heyman into everything. You want to do it, you could do it. I don't think it's going to necessarily hurt Oba, but Oba comes down to the ring by himself doing his strut. He can cut a promo on his own. He doesn't need anybody doing any talking for him. I don't see where Heyman really brings value that you're not already getting from this guy. He doesn't need it. Could they do it? Sure. If Heyman needs a guy, he doesn't have Roman anymore. Brock might go away. He's no longer with the Vision. I don't know if they're going to keep him with Braun Breaker or if he's going to be with Bronson Reed when Bronson Reed comes back, which could be any week now. I don't know who that next big Paul Heyman guy is. Is it still going to be Braun Breaker? Braun Breaker is in a real bad way right now. They ain't doing shit with him. So I don't know who that next big Heyman guy is going to be. Maybe it's Cody. Maybe Cody eventually goes heel. I mean, him and Cody have been chummy in the past. I don't know. But I saw the handshake, and people have mentioned that before. What maybe Paul switches and he goes with Oba. Yeah, why? Right? That's what John Cena talked about on this new season of Unreal, right? You got to figure out your why. What's the why? Why? Why would Oba need Heyman? To get a title shot? He already had one. He gave it up. Oba Femi, by the way, had a guaranteed world championship match on this show, and he gave it up willingly for an 11-minute match to beat Brock Lesnar, which he already did at WrestleMania. I hope it was worth it. Because they were sure talking about it like it was gone. But he'll win the Royal Rumble. He'll go to WrestleMania. He'll probably win the belt next year. It's not like he's not going to be the champion. But it's kind of funny to me now. Like, you gave up a world title match on this show for what ended up being a very underwhelming match. I don't know if it was worth it. The endorsement, though, is very cool. To have somebody like Brock, who's been dominant for so long, he's been positioned to the top of the food chain. When he goes in there and he gives you the big handshake, gets on the mic and says, look, I'm the old guy, you're the young guy, I'm the past, you're the present, or the future. That means something. So it was nice to get that endorsement there at the end. The show overall, a very mixed bag. There were some good things on the show. There were some very underwhelming things on the show. So it was very middle of the road. I would say it was a solid 6 out of 10, somewhere in that range. Not great, but not terrible. Now we have night 2, which was not as strong on paper. This is what the night 2 lineup looks like for tomorrow. We have Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, number one contenders match for the WWE Championship. I'm going with Balor in that match. Trick Williams and Baron Corbin for the United States Championship. I'm going with Corbin to win the title. I'm going to take a flyer on him. Danhausen, in a human money's on a pole match, is going to wrestle Dominic Mysterio. Anything but Dominic Mysterio winning this match, it would be fucking ridiculous. We have the interim women's championship ladder match. Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, and Lash Legend. Call me crazy. I'm going with Lash Legend to win the title. Penta defends his Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. Remember, one job. They have one job tomorrow. This should be very easy. And we have Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I expect that to be a win for Roman Reigns. We could put this Shield stuff to bed once and for all. 14 years of this shit. It all comes to an end tomorrow night. Somebody said that Oba called out Punk on the post show. So is Oba going to be like Brock in that he's not really attached to a brand? He's like a big enough attraction on the show that he could just bounce around wherever he wants to go. That's interesting. I mean, we could potentially be looking at Punk and Oba coming up next. I'm okay with that too. I feel like he would just break Punk in half if he hit him with a fall from grace. Just break. I don't know, though. After tonight, some of the bumps he took, he kind of came off as indestructible. I'm surprised he didn't explode into a pile of ash with some of the bumps he took tonight. Anyway, that's your night 2 card for tomorrow. We'll be back here again. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. We're not done here yet, but we'll be back for the full recap tomorrow. And by the way, there's going to be a full podcast tomorrow as well. When I wake up in the morning, I'll be recording episode 974 of The Sound Off, which will include, I got some stuff to say. Oh, it's going to be an animated morning, I could tell. I got some stuff to say about Triple H's comments on Busted Open this past week. The Grayson Waller promo that everybody was raving about from NXT. I'll talk about that. And my Dark Side of the Ring review on the Big Boss Man episode. So all of that is coming up tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at your Super Chats. Let's see what you guys thought of SummerSlam. Again, I appreciate all the support. Get them on in. We got a bonus goal going on right now in the chat. When is night 3, Bruce? Don't get me started, Bruce. He's talking about night 3 of SummerSlam. Don't even get me started, Bruce. A 3-night extravaganza. We got Boss Mo Jackson with us. Solid show. Night 2 will outdo night 1. Really? Okay, well. We got Frode79 talking about all kinds of sodas here. The chat awaits the response under the solo learning tree. This is what we were talking about during SummerSlam. Sprite, 7-Up, Sierra Mist, or Mellow Yellow. Well, I don't know if this is going to disappoint all of you or not, but I have never drank any of those 4. I think I tried Sprite once and never again. I was not a Sprite guy. I was not a 7-Up guy. I don't even think I know what Mellow Yellow is. In terms of soda, I was a Coke and Pepsi guy. More so Coke. I'm not really a Pepsi fan, but you know, you go to some of these like stadiums or movie theaters and restaurants, sometimes all they have is Pepsi, and it's like, all right, I'll have Pepsi. I'm a Coke guy. I like Coke. Here's a clip. Super Pony was really hoping for KO and got Randy instead. Disappointed. I think Punk might not want to work with KO. They have real life heat. Brother, this is not going to be an issue. They will work together. They've already done segments together on the show. do you think, they avoid each other in the hallway backstage? Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Dr. Pepper's another one. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I don't like any of that shit. All that shit is fucking terrible for you. You shouldn't be drinking any of it. You should not be drinking any of it. Jack and Coke is fine. Jack and Coke is acceptable. Death Scythe. Honestly, I would rather see a feud between heel Orton and babyface Punk over the title because Cody versus McAfee featuring Orton was no good. Yeah, it really was Cody against McAfee, wasn't it? Holiday 197 with a $10 Australian. Oba should cash in his King of the Ring reward shot on Roman and money. He doesn't have it anymore, brother. I think it's gone. It's gone. He gave it up. He's not holding on to it for a rainy day. He gave it away. It no longer exists. Says it probably won't happen, but an Oba versus Braun Breaker versus Fatu world title match at WrestleMania could be good. No, it's not that it probably won't happen. It won't happen. Would it be good, though? Of course it would be good. Donovan D says, can we go back to the days when one finisher actually finished a match? Also, Michael Cole needs to go. Yeah, Michael Cole and Tony Schiavone both have just been... It's not been good lately. It's not been good. Deathsight says, the Bellas could say the only reason that Paige was relevant in WWE the first time was because of fighting with my family. When she came back and doesn't have that anymore, she tried to leech off of us. Brother, I could not possibly care about any feud involving Paige and the Bellas against each other. I don't care. I appreciate you trying to at least attach some sort of story to it, but it ain't for me. Punk mentioned that he wants Oba to choose him over Roman, so I don't think it's gone. Okay, so they're making it up as they go along then. They literally had people on their own podcast. It was with Sam Roberts and Megan Morant talking about it after it happened as if he had given it away. Like, they don't even know what they're doing. They're just making it up as they go along. So I guess now they're going back on things, and now all of a sudden magically Oba will still have the shot. Great. No one knows what they're doing. He says, I mean, the Bellas are heels now, so they would say something stupid like that. Well, they may not be saying anything if Brie is going to be out for a while. The Sheltered Kid says, do you think WWE would ever allow a celebrity to have a 5-star match if they were able to? Or would they see it as anyone can do? What do you mean allow them to have a 5-star match? What does that even mean? Allow them to have a 5-star match? I think we saw one with Bad Bunny a few years ago. So the answer is yes. Yes, they would. But I'm not even sure how you would define a 5-star match. You think they give a shit what Dave Meltzer thinks? I mean, what kind of 5-star scale are we talking about here? Deathsight says, Oba should win the World Heavyweight Championship as soon as possible. Don't wait until WrestleMania 43 because they did the same thing with Lex Luger. And what happened? They waited. Dude, are you comparing Lex Luger and the reaction that he was getting at that time to Oba Femi and the reactions that he's been getting? I mean, dude, it's night and day. Brody, I thought night 1 was overall pretty good, aside from the 2 6-person tag matches. Main event was great. Says Solomonster, I love your intros to live streams. They're awesome. Thanks for all that you do. Well, I have good resources that I'm able to pay for and pull them from. So, no, I'm not sitting here and creating them myself. I'm not that talented. I do a lot of the art. I do all the art now that you see here on the channel, but like the thumbnails and stuff, but that stuff is a little above my pay grade. But I'm glad you enjoy them. And try to liven things up with some of the intros. Deathside says, Night 2, Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio in a Human Money's on a Pole match. Yeah, I would rather travel to the safari wearing all red and have my butt impaled by an angry charging rhinoceros. Well, I wouldn't, because that sounds awful. I think you're exaggerating. Donnie Yasu. Brock's streak may be over, but I will remind you that Michael Cole's undefeated streak at WrestleMania lives on. Well, then I guess that'll have to be the next Oba streak that he conquers. Oba Femi against Michael Cole at WrestleMania 43. At least it'll take him out of the booth for the show. But then we'll just end up with Joe Tessitore talking about Jade Cargill when she comes out for her match. Who we got? Hey, Linkmaster, thank you, brother. Boomerang with a 10. Do you remember when Mox said that he pitched the idea of tearing up the canvas for his Hell in a Cell match against Seth Rollins that was shot down by Vince and Triple H? It's not eye roll inducing for Triple H now. Well, Triple H wanted to save it for either himself or for someone not named Dean Ambrose. Wasn't a good idea back then, but it's a great idea now. We have got Chief Running Wolf. Says Russo voice. Solomonster, bro. Thank you for suffering through all these WWE PLEs for us, bro. You're welcome, bro. It's just wrestling, bro. It's just wrestling. Nick Grasso. I don't agree with Liv retaining. Io should have won, and the real reason Liv won and Rhea kept her title is because that's the match they want for Crown Jewel. Who wants to see that in 2026? Apparently Paul Levesque. Ragnarok. Props to WWE for doing literally anything possible to keep from turning Cody heel. It's actually impressive at this point. Hats off. They're holding out as long as they possibly can. Death Scythe, even though Rock was champion heading into WrestleMania 15, he was nowhere near same guy heading into WrestleMania 17 and made his match with Stone Cold feel like a first time. Well, I can't disagree with you on that.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this
Oh
money
my,
on
look
me.
who it is.
I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A Rock, you rock.
Holy shit.
And I just wanted you to know that.
Oh my goodness. We need a yes chant for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Havili coming in with a $140 bomb. Oh my God.
Holy shit.
That is a big one. Look at Havili just very casually coming out of nowhere and dropping bombs on us. Havili, thank you, brother. Always love hearing from you. I'm going to get to your message in a second. Don't go nowhere. I want to keep things in order here. Super Pony says, I enjoyed Punk Cody, but was that really worth taking the belt off Sammy for? I don't think so. Well, they disagree because Sammy is not as big of a star. Cody and Punk and Orton, they're all at a level above Sammy when it comes to star power and where they are in the pecking order in this company. They wanted to do the biggest possible main event they could that did not involve Sami Zayn. That's why we got the match we got. That's why Sammy's in an undercard match against Finn Balor. And probably is going to lose. David says, I like the Liv Morgan match more than the Cody Rhodes match. I don't think that's like a hot take. I enjoyed that match too. I thought it was very good. The Cody and Punk match got, what did it get? Probably an extra 16 or 17 minutes more. But I also thought it was very boring for the first portion of it. I was never bored by Liv and Io. Alexander with a $4.99 says Liv Morgan was caught fiddling with the four-leaf clover and a rabbit's foot in the back before the match. Is that what broke the curse? So now we know how to break the Danhausen curse. If only Wemby knew that. San Antonio might have won the championship. Venom Kitetsu says maybe if Liv sported a Solomonster shirt, you would be enduring her title reign much easier. Happy weekend, man. Thanks for what you do. Cheers. Well, she's welcome to wear one anytime. I'll send a free one if she wants one. Maybe I'll shoot a DM over. See if she wants one. She follows me, so I could DM her. No, I'm not going to bother her. I can only imagine. the kind of DMs that this poor woman must get. Psy Guy is here. Says, thanks for the content. $14 super chat. Hey, Psy Guy, thank you. That's the brand new $14 super chat drop. We got Brody. Let's go solo. Let's go solo. Let's go solo. I love that chant. Rarely even with a 5. How is the Anaconda Vice legal in WWE? It is literally a chokehold. You're strangling your opponent. I mean, what are you asking me for? I don't make the rules. I don't disagree. Arnold PJ. Michael Cole also called Liv's three amigos as the three Omegos. Maybe he was referencing three of Kenny Omega's friends. How about it? How about it? Is that what Omega calls his friends? Would that be the Young Bucks and Hangman? Are they the three Omegos? I think Michael Cole is pretty burnt out. That's what I think. Yeah, it's funny because in the last couple of years, I think he's taken a few days off. But like up until a few years ago, he talked about it with such pride that he only took like 3 days off in 27 years. And I'm like, that's not something to celebrate, dude. Like, that's awful. That is awful. I could, I guess, understand in some weird warped way, like this is a source of pride for people who work for that company who could be like, I've never taken any day. I've missed 3 days in 27 years. Like, why would you ever want to work for a company where you feel like you have to work and only miss 3 days in 27? Like, it's just insane to me. That's not something to be celebrated. You end up burning yourself out. Don't do that. Grand Prairie Cobra. Just like player manager in MLB and NBA 50 years ago, this is a perfect angle for Aldis. Much like Hall versus Zbyszko, build heat, then use him to settle a score. That probably would be the best role for him, honestly. If you were going to have him get back in the ring for any feuds. Daryl Strawberry is with us. Want me to make your day even worse? In the 2006 NLCS Game 7, if Beltran walk off Wainwright with the bases loaded, it would have been a grand slam. Daryl, you need to cool it, brother. You're putting me in a very bad headspace if you take me back to 2006 in that series. Fried Chicken says, can you imagine CM Punk attempting to do a made in Japan move during a WWE match? He wouldn't be doing that to me. I would never agree to that. Bruce. The show was mediocre. But these Michelob Ultras are making it better with everybody saying, yeah. It's going to be their, that's going to be their new sponsor on the ring steps. Michelob. Actually, maybe they could put them on the microphones. Instead of having like the raw, what they call like a bug, the wraparound on the microphone, it'll just be the Michelob logo, the Michelob mic. Yeah, we'll have the Kalshi kendo sticks, the Michelob microphones. What else can we brand? Plus Ultra Adrian. Cody fatigue may be a thing, but Solomonster fatigue will never be a thing. Thank you for all that you do. That's right. There is no such thing as Solomonster fatigue. It would be impossible. Actually, Solomonster fatigue is a very real thing, but it's literally the Solomonster is just very fatigued because he doesn't get enough sleep. But you guys, there should be no such thing as Solomonster fatigue. Base Beer says moon salt. He wrote that like literal moon salt. Is there salt on the moon? We may find out soon. Supposedly SpaceX is blowing up a rocket or something on the moon. Oh, I'm sure that'll end well. When pieces of the moon end up landing on Earth and killing people. That'll be great. Jeremy Rose says Cody KO versus Orton Punk feud incoming. So KO is going to be back to being friends with Cody? Why would he do that? After everything they went through? Bruce says Mickie James was the highlight of the Aldis match. I like the Aldis match. Abyssal Zones. Looked like Brock sat up and laughed after the first fall from grace. I figured it was his tribute to his SummerSlam matches in 2014 and 2015. Are you sure about that? Or is that just a tribute to him no-selling and yelling and laughing in Ilya Dragutov's face and no-selling his chops from the Royal Rumble? Base Beer says Blue Chew ads on the kendo sticks. No, I think when the wrestlers start branding their boots, it'll be the Blue Chew boot. Venom Kitetsu, Captain Morgan tonight with no mixer. Staying healthy. You always need a mixer. What are we, 9 out of 15 on the bonus skull? We're definitely doing the one round to be the booker, so we are at least safe with the one round. Solomonster's lost son is with us with a $4.99. Dad, I for sure thought Brock was hiding a blade in one of those elbow pads. Low-key disappointed main event. Punk Cody should have main evented. Every now and then, you know, he chimes in and reminds me that I raised him right with a take like that. Pseudo with a 5. I chose sleep and 5-star GP over SummerSlam. Seems like I made the right choice. Well, you did, and I mean, now you're here with the review, so I could just tell you everything that you missed. You didn't miss much. Base Beer says, was Triple H versus Nash in Hell in a Cell better than tonight? I mean, from what I can remember, I don't remember really liking that match. Was that the one with Foley as the referee? Was Foley the referee for that match? Am I remembering the same match? It probably was. I mean, I haven't seen that match in years. I just was not a big fan of a lot of those Triple H matches during that era. Solomonster's lost son again. Where are you getting all this money from, Solomonsters? I cut you off a long time ago. Are you back out on the street? If any celebrity can have a 5-star match, it would be Tom Holland. I grew up with Toby, but I can confidently say after the new movie, he is my favorite. Out of curiosity, I just checked to see what all the showings were at my local movie theater, and they were all sold out for that Spider-Man. Even until like 1:30 in the morning, they were all sold out for Spider-Man. I mean, that movie is going to do record monster business by the time this weekend. And this is just the opening weekend. Did 72 million on Thursday previews alone. 72 million on Thursday. It's crazy. And then we got Havili. Look at that red bomb. I love seeing that red. Bret Hart said that he was supposed to drop the Intercontinental title to Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam in DC. If this was true, what would Davey Boy have done? If SummerSlam was one night this year, what would be the main event? Brock versus Oba, Roman versus Seth, or Punk versus Cody? And favorite SummerSlam, boy, he's got a lot of questions here. Favorite SummerSlam in 80, 90, what? There was no SummerSlam in 1980. What are you talking about? SummerSlam 80, 90, or I don't know where the 80 came from in that. But of the options that you presented to me, the answer is 90. SummerSlam 90. If SummerSlam was one night this year, the main event would have been Oba and Brock if they insisted on doing the ring spot, because you can't rip up the ring and then send another match out there. I mean, I guess you could, but it would take a while to repair. So it probably would still be Brock and Oba. But if not, then it would be Roman and Seth over Cody and Punk. And as far as the first story, so that is true. The original plan for SummerSlam in 1992, they were going to run Washington, D.C., and Shawn Michaels was going to challenge Bret and probably win the Intercontinental title. They made the decision to go to Wembley, which was very ambitious because business wasn't exactly booming in 92. But overseas, their business was really, really good. And they legit had 80,000 people in Wembley Stadium. Like, the legitimate number of people they had in Wembley in 92, the old Wembley, was more than AEW had. And they had a lot of people their first time in Wembley. But once they made that decision, they decided to go with the Bulldog. What would Bulldog have done if they did SummerSlam in DC? Nothing of note. It's not like he would have been wrestling for a championship. The only reason they put the belt on him when they did was because they were going to Wembley. So that one decision changed everything. People still talk about Bret and Bulldog as being the greatest SummerSlam match of all time. And it almost didn't happen just because they could have just gone with a different location for the show that year. I don't remember why they ultimately, what it came down to and why they made the call to take it overseas. My guess would be that, again, they were doing really big business on those international tours back then. And they were like, hey, we could probably fill up the stadium doing it. And oh my, I just noticed M. Mills just came in like a tornado and absolutely wrecked the goal, the bonus goal. We have hit 15 out of 15 on those $10 super chats. And so we are going to be doing a double round of Be the Booker. Round of applause for M. Mills. M. Mills is awesome. Hulk Hogan was there? No, Hulk Hogan, despite what he may have told people, Hulk Hogan was not at Wembley Stadium for SummerSlam. He was there. He was there in spirit, brother. Yeah, well, he's going to be there in spirit now, too. Anyway, Havili, thank you, brother. Very, very generous of you. I appreciate it. Don't be afraid to show your face more often. Cameo Johnson with the $9.99. Phil should have practiced that top rope with the time off that he had and hit up Rey Mysterio about that stem cell. LOL. Liv should have lost, but to Raquel. Why does she have the Intercontinental belt? Thanks again, Solo, for the content. Cameo, I wish I had a better answer for you. I don't know. it seemed a few months ago like that's the direction we were headed in. They were going to do something with Liv and Raquel, and things were headed down, a breakup between them. Or even Roxanne and Liv. They were kind of building tension between them, and they've completely just gotten away from that. All right, I'm going to stop that goal and just throw up a different one. We did this the other night. Now, if we hit this one, we'll have 3 rounds of Be the Booker. Let's throw that one as a double bonus up there. Hey, Daryl Strawberry, again, thank you, brother. Coming in with another super chat. Robert Peterson. Do you think WWE could have made a push for ravishing Rick Rude to be the world champion in his time? Sure, they could have. I think he would have made for a fight. Look, he was a great champion in WCW. He had more success there than he did in WWE. EJ Slam, baseball news. My White Sox trade for Luis Castillo, and the Dodgers somehow get even richer by landing Tariq Skubal. Oh my goodness. These fucking Dodgers, man. Something has to be done about them. Something must be done about these Dodgers. They're an absolute menace to the game. Tucky Neutron, speaking on your ad rant, Taco Bell ring bell. They could call it the Taco Ring Bell. Give me back shots, Solomonster. I will not. Liv winning makes Roxanne Money in the Bank favorite. I hope so, because then that'll make me look really smart. Because I picked her at the beginning of the year when I did my predictions. I picked her to win Money in the Bank. All the way back in like December. And then we had M. Mills coming in with all of these $9.99 super chats to get us to the bonus goal. M. Mills, I salute you. I hope you're having a great night. I love it. Boots with a 5. Solomonster, you watch Raw, SmackDown, and the PLE, so we don't have to. Will you be joining Club WWE and give us the first-hand deets? I will not. I will not. I was not planning on joining Club WWE. I don't even... What are all the perks of Club WWE? Do I get a cool patch like Cody had on his jacket on SmackDown last night? Can't wait for the MLB lockout. Yeah, unfortunately. The lockout is coming. Unfortunately, it is inevitable. You know, the last time we had an MLB knockout, the last time we had an MLB lockout, we ended up with Abe Knuckleball Schwartz on TV. Joseph Brooks with a $4.99. You get to give TKO more money. Oh, yeah. That's just what I want to be doing. Joseph says, buy, rent, sell on HBK's rematches of great matches that he had. HBK against Razor Ramon, SummerSlam 95. HBK against Undertaker, WrestleMania 26. HBK against Cena on Raw in the UK. I'm going to go HBK Razor from SummerSlam 95. I actually like that ladder match more than their WrestleMania 10 ladder match, and I love that match. So I'm buying on that. I'm going to rent on the WrestleMania 26 match. And I'm going to sell on the Raw match with Cena. Super Pony. KO should help Sammy win tomorrow. I think that it would be a slap in the face to have Sammy lose the belt and lose to a guy that has zero chance of winning a world title again. I love Finn, but that is the reality. Oh, well, you know, I guess that would be the only way that I would see Owens returning tomorrow is if he was to help Sammy win. Which I then would, I imagine would then set up a automatic feud with Owens and Balor. Darryl Strawberry, the Dodgers, yes, we just talked about that. Darryl Strawberry is very excited about this. And Dried Chicken with a 5. You're going to hate me for this. Bright orange ladders during PLEs to sponsor Home Depot. I could absolutely see that. I could totally see that. Dried Chicken, thank you. Darth Ridiculous with a 5. Hot tip. Want to see Spider-Man with no crowd? Get a ticket to a showing with closed caption. Saw it Thursday. Only 6 people in there. Do it all the time. Oh, is that the trick? People don't like seeing the closed captions on the screen? That's interesting. And we have Havili says, I meant in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, and 20s. Okay. In the 80s. I thought you were saying 1980. Look, they didn't have pay-per-views back then, brother. Favorite SummerSlam in the 80s? Well, there were only 2 of them. So not a huge sample size. I got to go 89, though. 89 was a favorite of mine. So that one's easy. In the 90s, gets a little bit harder. There were some really good SummerSlams. Boy, I think I might have to go 91. I might have to go 91. I probably would go 90 or 91. 2000s? 2002. And then 2010s, I probably would go 2013. And then of the 2020s, that may be the hardest one. And those are the most recent ones. I don't know. I don't know which. Man, that's a tough one. I don't know. Maybe 22. Maybe 22. Havili, the 36 months of channel membership. Any chance of getting the Demon tomorrow against Sami Zayn? No, I would say very little. There's no reason for it. You bring out the Demon when there's a reason for it. This is a random match. I mean, there's no reason to have the Demon out there. We have Schiff and Shive. Post-show, Triple H saying that he loves all the wrestlers working hard to get themselves over with the fans. Why? So he can bury them in catering? Hilariously hypocritical. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff he says that is very hypocritical. There's stuff he said on WWE radio this week that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow that was very hypocritical. But see, you didn't answer the most important question, though, Chef. At some point during the post-show, did he A, call this the beginning of a new era? Or B, did he say it's what we do? There has to be at least one reference to that every single time he talks on the post-show. It's what we do. The Juliet says, rest in peace, Vincent Pastore. Yes, Big Puss passed away. I think he was 81 years old. Big Puss from The Sopranos. I mean, he's been in a lot of different stuff. But yeah, I saw he passed away, so I was bummed to hear that. Someone tell Carmelo Hayes that Triple H statement. Did you see the picture that Carmelo Hayes posted yesterday? It's either during SmackDown or after SmackDown. It was just a picture of Steph Curry just sitting on the bench. Oh, man, that guy is not happy. I don't blame him. He's thinking, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? You leave me off WrestleMania. You leave me off SummerSlam. What do I have to do? Linkmaster, what's worse, Cena beating Ray or Brock beating Kofi? Brock beating Kofi. I know Ray only had the belt for an hour. Kofi had it for 6 months. It was not nearly as bad as the way in which Kofi was just discarded, like he was nothing. Kofi was worse. All right, we got 2 rounds of Be the Booker now coming our way. Thanks to all of you. And it's a very special edition, too. It's the SummerSlam edition, so we gotta do a good one here. I got high hopes for this. It's time to Be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to
Oh,
be
no.
the Booker.
Matt Scales. Matt Scales says, the dude wipes fire extinguisher. It's only a matter of time before the wrestlers themselves are forced to wear advertisements on their gear. It's only a matter of time. Dried Chicken says, Carmelo Hayes needs to call The Undertaker for AAA. This goes on for much longer. He's going to have to call an Undertaker for his career. Like Julia. All right, here we go. Tag team match. We did not have a straight tag team match at all. And I don't believe we have one tomorrow night either. We had 2 6-person tags tonight, though. But no tag team title defenses this weekend. Hollywood Hogan and the Worm, Dennis Rodman, are kicking us off here and Be the Booker. We landed on these 2 a few weeks ago. A lot of star power there. Headlined a Bash at the Beach pay-per-view many years. Actually, 2 of them, I believe. I think it was 97 and 98. Hogan and Rodman against Tito Santana and Rick Martel. Interesting. I mean, we know who's doing the job, but interesting match there. Totally going to be carried by Strikeforce. Tito was great. I mean, Martel was great too, but Tito was awesome, man. Tito was so underrated. Doesn't get enough love. We have that butterfly belt. Look at that monstrosity. We have the former Divas champion, Michelle McCool. This was back during that phase of her career where she was just loving life. Remember those vignettes? It would show her doing various things. We rollerblading. Michelle McCool is loving life. She's loving life. Michelle McCool defending the Divas title. We have a triple threat stipulation. Look at that. We have a bonus stipulation. We have landed on a bonus stipulation, which means we have to pick 2 more people. We have a Divas Championship triple threat. So, we have Michelle McCool. We have... Who do we have? Oh. Now I'm depressed. Now I am depressed. I said her name. See, I don't recognize this woman. This is not the same woman that we see on Friday Night SmackDown. I don't know what happened to her, but I want this Julia back. This is Stardom Julia. Stardom Julia would absolutely just assassinate Michelle McCool. I mean, this is not even a fair fight. We have to add 1 more person because it is a triple threat. I'm telling you, man, Be the Booker is self-aware and it hears things. It's very, very eerie how we land on some of these things. Okay, well now, hold on a second. Now we have been transported from a triple threat to a fatal four-way. We're just going to keep adding women here. We're going to have our own little harem. So we have Michelle McCool, we have Julia, and now we need 2 more women. Now it has turned into a Divas Championship four-way. Yes, it is evolving. Tegan Knox, Julia, Tegan Knox, and Michelle McCool. We need a drum roll for this. We got to pick our 4th and final lady here in this match. And it will be Io Sky. And I am going to give that the automatic bell because we have Julia and Io Sky in the same match. That's an automatic bell. Tegan Knox and Michelle McCool, they can go fight off out to the floor. Give me Io and give me Julia. It's all we need here. It's all we need. All right, our final match here of round number 1. We need a good main event. It is SummerSlam Night 1. Give me a good main event. Next spin is the guest referee. Well, this is new. Okay, so we're going to have... So the first person we're going to spin for is going to be the special guest referee, which means this person has to call this match right down the middle, whoever it is that we land on. Man, that's a hard slap right there. I think Sami Zayn, he looks like he should be trying out for power slap. All right, so the guest referee for this main event contest will be... wait. What is going on here? You get to pick the mystery man. I get to pick the mystery man, huh? You know what that means? Since we basically doubled up on stipulations here, that means I get to pick the special referee. Okay, so I need some input from you guys. Who should be the special guest referee for this match? I'll give you a few seconds. Think hard about this. Chime in the chat, and whoever I pick, I'm just gonna pick the person, and that will be the referee for the match. And then we'll pick the actual participants. Ariel Helwani, Nick Aldis, JD from NY, Boss Man, Jim Corn. Boy, this look. Dave Meltzer. Look at all these. My God, Solomonster. Of course, I could pick. Yeah, but see, if I pick myself, though, I mean that's like a conflict of interest. I see a lot of Al Bundys in the chat. All right, I gotta make a decision here. You know what? I will go with JD. We're gonna go JD from NY is gonna be the special referee here for this match. Okay, so now we know who the official is going to be. Now we have to pick the participants. The Jets, the reigning TNT champion in AEW, Kevin Knight. He was just in a main event. He was just in a pay-per-view main event last weekend, in fact. We got the Jet, Kevin Knight. The main event against Psycho Sid. And you know, and actually, I believe that was a clean sweep. A clean sweep. Sid is going to powerbomb not only Kevin Knight, he's going to powerbomb JD for shits and giggles. He's going to leave them both laying with a powerbomb, and everyone's going to pop. He's taking a ref bump. No, he's taking a power bomb is what he's taking. He's gonna be biased towards Sid. Now we need a referee that can call it right down the middle. He's got to be able to call balls and strikes. I got to tell you, that was a wild round, and we got one more left to go. I don't know if we can top what we just did. Now it's all stipulations here. So the first stipulation is going to be a barroom brawl. We're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, it looks like. All right, we're going to have a barroom brawl tag team match. I don't believe we've had one of those. Oh, my God. Oh, enough with the fucking Shield, my God. Oh, I can't get away from them. This, by the way, is your main event tomorrow night. You want to know your SummerSlam Night 2 main event? There it is right there, staring you right in your face. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I mean, they look so young. They're so much older now. We have the Shield in a barroom brawl against the Bang Bang Gang, Jay White and Juice Robinson. That's right. I cannot escape the Shield vortex. None of us can. I'm just glad that the Bang Bang Gang is going to be away from the dogs. I'll take it. Match number 2 is going to be, grave consequences. This is how a casket match ought to be done. This is not just any casket match. This is a very violent, bloody casket match. Stick with the men on this one. It's a little too violent for the ladies. We'll stick here to the guys for this one. Grave consequences. Good morning, brother. DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. It's going to be on one side of the ring here in grave consequences. DDP. Yo, it's me. It's me. It's DDP against LA Knight.
Yeah!
Grave consequences. The BFT. Very similar, though, isn't it? The BFT and the Diamond Cutter. A little too similar. Little too similar. And now our main event. Our main event of the evening. What kind of match are we going to have? It's going to be of course it's going to be a blindfold match. This is how they book in WWE. They have all their creative meetings are fucking blindfold matches. Okay. The two men will have a bag over their heads. They will be unable to see. It's pretty simple. It's basically how the match works. Not the best stipulation, but that's what we landed on. Logan Paul in a blindfold match. And here I thought that we might actually be able to pull off the double sweep, but it's not looking too good. Well, Logan Paul against, I mean, this is not just Eddie Kingston. This is like zombie Eddie Kingston, which I got to tell you, Eddie Kingston in the ring, this version of Eddie Kingston in the ring with Logan Paul. That is a double sweep. We pulled it off. We did it. I was ready to hit the buzzer on that match. As soon as I saw Logan Paul and blindfold match, I said, yeah, I don't like where this is headed. But then we saw Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, by the way, the Mad King, Bloody Kingston. I like that. See, I like that. Nobi says Bloody Kingston. The Mad King is going to be coming to the NYC Arena. We have him in the main event of House of Glory next Friday against Charles Mason for the World Championship. You can see it live and free on YouTube next Friday. Unless you care that much to watch SmackDown. Otherwise, you can watch HOG. I'm just saying. Well, we ended well. I like how that ended. I like that. Yeah, we ended up doing 2 men's matches instead of the women's match. I made a judgment call that we were not going to get too overly violent with the women in grave consequences, so. There you go. I got to tell you, man, that card next Friday that we put together is stacked. It is stacked. All right, let's get back to your super chats here because we are not done yet. We have Dry Chicken says Martel and Tito against Hogan and Rodman, Eric Bischoff as the referee. Yeah, I don't think we need him. Havili, buy, sell, or rent, says favorite SummerSlam of the Undertakers. 96 against Mankind, 97 against Brett, or 98 against Steve Austin? And are they saying saving Stephanie Vicare's return for Raw? I've been waiting for Stephanie to come back since WrestleMania. So unless there's some reason why she cannot work, yes, it would seem to me like Raw would be the perfect place for them to bring her back. As far as favorite SummerSlam of The Undertaker, let me tell you something, man. Those were 3 great matches he had back to back to back like that. But I don't think any of them were as good as the 97 match with Brett. And the finish of that match was just a work of art. I got to go 97. I will go 96 because I'm a fan of that Boiler Room Brawl. And then I'll put 98 against Austin on the bottom. Even though the hype and the promotion for that match, the Highway to Hell stuff, I mean, clears them all. The match itself, I'd have to put that third. J Swag 93. Home from SummerSlam, it was 6.8 out of 10 to me. That's about in line with what I said. I said about 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. Middle of the road, trending up. See, and that's from someone who was there in the stadium. Dry Chicken says Michelle McCool, Stardom Julia, Tegan Knox, and Io Sky. Winner gets a Lamborghini. You know, what was I going to say about Julia? Just forgot. Well, I said a year from now, if she's not in Stardom, she'll be back in Marigold. I mean, the writing with her is on the wall. Fast Eddie Solo, have you seen the I Play Rocky trailer? That movie is going to be phenomenal. I have not. Is it worth watching? I have not seen the trailer. Navy 4181. CM Punk with the unprettiest moonsault. I love it. CM Punk with the unprettiest moonsault ever. CM Punk, the Grievous of the Sky. I like the unprettiest moonsault ever. It's actually a great way to describe it. Dried Chicken says Logan Paul against Eddie Kingston. Max Dupree. Low blows Eddie to help Logan for more heat. Well, it's a good thing you're not booking. You killed the territory. ECW Original. ECW with the 357. Been listening since 2012, 2013. You kind of taught me the English language. Thank you for always being unbiased in your reviews. Well, I appreciate that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing that I taught you the English language? I probably taught you a few words you shouldn't be using. But that's a long time, man. That's well over a decade. I appreciate all the support. You've stuck with me for a very long time. You know, we're getting very close. We're getting awfully close to episode 1000 of the Sound Up. You know what happened when Raw hit episode 1000? It went to 3 hours. I promise you, I make this vow. I will not do that. I will not do that. If anything, I'll shave an hour off. And Linkmaster X says, I pay $30 a month for C+ pay-per-views. Why are you paying $30 a month? Do you not have ESPN Unlimited? Or Netflix and a VPN? I don't think these shows are worth $30 a month, but I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I only now got access to ESPN Unlimited through YouTube TV. I finally got it to work. So I was able to watch it on there. Finally. It only took a year. Better late than never, I guess. Man, we got a lot of longtime listeners in the chat. Chris says 2010. Next year is going to be 20 years for the Sound Off. Yes. Next year is the 20-year anniversary. Next November. We got episode 1000 coming up, 20-year anniversary. There's a lot of milestones coming up. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me for night 1 of SummerSlam. Tonight, I thought that we pretty much covered all the important stuff. I think I pretty much called it fairly. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff. And tomorrow we'll do it again. Hopefully it's better than tonight, night 2, headlined by Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. We'll see if they're saving any surprises. If we're going to get any title changes, it's going to be in the Intercontinental match. Obviously, we're going to have a new interim women's champion, but I'm not counting that. But we should have at least the IC title change tomorrow. That's the match I'm actually looking forward to most on that card. Roman and Seth, I'm sure they're going to have a quality main event. It's just, again, 14 years of this. It's like, can we move on, please? You know, it's 2026, and they're building this whole main event around like the Shield. And nobody loved the Shield as much as I did back then. But my God, can we move on from this, please? Let's let this be the end. Linkmaster, Kubrick or Tarantino? Tarantino. Hey, Alex, what's going on? Necro says, it's going to blow tomorrow. I love the attitude. I love the optimism. Dried Chicken, there is one way for Julia to get out of her contract. Take a picture with Tony Khan. Yeah, just take a picture with the Elite. She'll be gone pretty quickly. Again, Sound Off 974 will be dropping tomorrow sometime, hopefully early afternoon. I don't want to wait until we get too close to SummerSlam. And then we have night 2. I'll get the page up just like I did today. We'll be here probably around the same time, 9:30, 9:45 tomorrow night. We'll wrap everything up. Hit that like button on your way out. Leave a comment. Thank you again for all the love. Be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great rest of your night. Bring all that support tomorrow so we can do Be the Booker again. And I'll see you there. We ain't done yet. Night 2. I'll see you tomorrow.